man.
You know,
Being here. What's up?
I was thinking about something.
What were you thinking about, bro?
The fuck were you thinking about?
What's going on in the earth, right?
Oh,
What's
what?
happening in our
The
mind?
fuck were you thinking about?
And
I
I'm
don't know,
wondering,
man. I don't
why
think.
does it matter?
I just do. We're about to find out. But ha 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 ha. If you're listening right now,
Ready.
oh, never mind.
Just kidding.
Welcome to Earth Mind Matter. Okay, let's talk about albums.
Oh yeah,
So let's talk about some movies.
I fucking hate movies.
What a
bro.
nerd, man.
I'll talk about comics. What?
Speak in the universe.
What's
Across the internet.
I don't go on
fuck
the
that.
internet.
Yeah.
So what's up, Javi?
Who the fuck's
What's going
Javi?
on, Frankie?
Who the fuck is Frankie?
No idea, bro. No idea.
Yo, man. What a couple of assholes.
What a couple of dick fucks, man.
So full of themselves.
Just-
oh, look at us.
Like, oh, it's an intro.
Whoa.
Oh, I have a podcast.
God.
Oh, God.
What a couple of dickheads.
I hate this show.
They have like no self-awareness.
No
They're
self-esteem.
Clearly, they're just doing this only for them egos.
Losers, man.
Yo,
Losers.
man, I bet they just listen to this shit day in and day out. Just listen to themselves.
Yeah, I bet you they're like, yo, play a song, and they play their podcast.
Yo, man, I bet when they have sex and she's like, you put on the music, and they're like, I got you.
And she's like, oh yeah.
And every third girl is gonna be like, what the fuck?
But fuck those girls. You know,
it's okay. It'll happen.
Yeah,
It'll happen.
You gotta pick and choose the cherries that blossom from the tree, but as soon as they fall, you know what they say, it's sweeter when it's done.
And I'll just say, the sweeter, the better.
Not if you're diabetic though.
Oh, why'd you got to do that?
Nah, real life
Why'd you
is
have
real
to do
life,
that?
and I'm a doctor.
Oh yeah, Franky MD.
Yeah, man.
Oh wait, who the fuck is Franky
Who
MD?
the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is Franky MD?
Fucking prick.
Where are your what's your resume, bitch?
My resume?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Like what are your
Credentials?
Credentials. Your accolades.
My accolades. I don't know. I'm a pretty chill motherfucker. That's when I apply for jobs, it just says
chillest motherfucker on the block.
bitch. And they're like, you're hired. Just chill there. And I'm just in the corner with a toothpick in my mouth, some sunglasses, but the sunglasses don't have lenses, so I can see everybody's moves.
Bruh.
I don't trust anybody, especially the sun.
You should get sunglasses that have mirrors on the sides. I've seen that these exist.
Like reflectors?
There are sunglasses that have mirrors on the inside, so you could look behind you as you're walking.
I don't wear sunglasses. You know what I wear?
What?
Moon glasses.
Moon glasses?
Moon glasses.
Okay.
Yeah,
what
man.
are moon glasses?
Because I only chill at night.
Oh,
yeah. Hair in my mouth, bro. What the fuck?
Damn, who's to blame? Who's to blame?
Me. Hair in my mouth is my own. Because I
Damn,
wear moon
Frank in
shades.
his mouth, moon glasses, wearing motherfucker.
I wear toothpicks, moon shades, hair in my mouth, and I have a podcast. That's my
Get a
life.
load of this guy. Get a load of this guy. So exciting. Oh.
I'm like the Brad Pitt of,
Yo, man. So
What's
you want to hear about my dream?
Yes, I do. Oh, first of all, what are we doing today?
I'll get to that in a sec. You want to hear about my dream?
What's up about your dream?
So there we were. You, me, CFO Slime.
Okay. Bowling?
And oof.
Thank God we weren't bowling. All right.
But we go about that we are gonna do a heist on a luxury cruise.
Okay.
And
That's the worst place to do a heist. What the fuck? You're gonna commit a heist on the one place you're stranded on for how long?
we had an escape route. Okay,
Okay.
we were gonna take a boat and get and GTFO. All right. We had it all planned out.
Okay.
And so we had everything planned out. We had all our equipment, all our tools. We
Yeah.
were ready to do a sick ass heist. It
We
was
had our
gonna be dope.
swimsuits. We had our swimsuits.
We had our swimsuits, everything.
Okay. Goggles. We had goggles.
Goggles,
Yeah, flippers.
fucking
Flippers.
flip floppers.
Sun lotion.
I don't think so.
Damn,
We're
bro.
brown. We don't need it.
That's true. They say it's a scheme. It's a sunscreen is a conspiracy.
Yeah. If you're brown, then yeah.
Yeah. Natural sun lotion. Yeah, man.
But we fucking, yeah, we were gonna do a heist on this cruise ship, and we're finally getting through with it. We're about to do it. We're about to pull it off and everything. And then we finally get into this one room.
Okay.
And in that room are a room full of zombies.
What kind of zombies? Like
And-
fast or slow zombies?
Slow zombies.
What kind of teeth they had?
Like just like regular teeth. Like they like kind of like Walking Dead walkers.
Okay.
They were just
Like,
kind of
yeah. You know?
and we were just like, holy fucking shit, what have we just walked into?
Yeah.
And
And
like
slime is like zombies, duh. Obviously, it's clearly zombies.
Duh.
Duh. Like if it was something that's not obscure at all, it's zombies.
and like the rest of my dream just played out with like the whole cruise ship like getting overrun by zombies, and we were just doing our best to escape with our lives and using the equipment that we had to throughout our heist to get out like in close encounters and things like that, and just make it.
What did we steal?
We were stealing I think like money or diamonds, something like that. But
So we fought with the zombies with our diamonds and paper money.
well, no, with the equipment that we had.
Oh, like to escape the heist.
Yeah.
Were we gonna shoot these people on vacation? Then we
No,
had like
we-
AK-47
we
and machetes.
we had like a buzzsaw for like a safe at some point.
Okay.
And like Slime fucking used that buzzsaw to like fucking cut out a vent that we could crawl through, and also use a buzzsaw against a zombie at some point.
Gotcha.
It was a whole thing.
How big was this room for the zombies?
Like,
I have so many questions.
so when we walked into the room with the zombies in there, it was like the dining hall.
Oh,
And
so it's a shitload of zombies.
Yeah, so it was easily
Ooh.
like 20, 30 zombies.
Were they
in there.
previously current vacationers, or were they just there?
They were current vacationers.
Turned into
So
zombies.
yeah, so in my dream it was kind of like this was like case zero.
So we couldn't just close the door?
Well, that's what we did. We closed the door.
Yeah.
But as we were closing the door, they started to like get our attention
Yeah.
because we couldn't close the door correctly. 'Cause
Did we
we're
step
dumb.
fully into the room of zombies and lock the door behind us before we were like,
No.
you know when you open a door, like, you know, like a friend of mine who I only see he walked into his parents clapping cheeks, right? He saw his parents clapping cheeks. The funniest shit I ever heard in my life. And for you listening, you know who you are. But like, you know when you open the door, you see somebody clapping cheeks, you close it immediately, right?
Uh-huh.
Like that's like how I imagine we would do with zombies. Like, you know, like we'd be like, oh shit, zombies, boom, and just close the door. Be like, oh, we're gonna just continue with the heist and just get the fuck out of here. But something tells me we, for some reason, stepped into the room and closed the door behind us while knowing there's a dining room full of zombies. And they were like, we probably get out of here. But
No, we opened the door, had the doors open, saw the situation,
yeah,
and we were like, holy fucking shit. And then we tried to close the doors.
but they were so fast.
But they got our like as us yelling whatever
Yeah.
got their attention, and they started moving over towards us, and we couldn't close the door correctly. Like it kept fucking like fucking up on us.
Oh, okay.
And we couldn't lock the door or anything
We
like
should have
that.
just sacrificed slime.
And so then they started like creeping through the door, trying
Yeah.
to like rip it open and shit. And so then that's when we had to book it, and that's how like the zombies broke out like amongst the
Wow.
rest of the ship.
Future references, we sacrificed slime. We sacrificed slime.
I don't know, man.
It's not-
Should we?
Nah, we
he's
will.
a CFO though.
I
That's
know.
That's fucked up.
It's not fucked up. It's what he would want us to do. Like
Nah.
then we could credit him like, oh, the hero, the hero of the day. We get to continue doing the podcast. He's dead.
And it's memoriam.
It's memoriam. Maybe we could put a plaque of him right here. Just getting mad that
Just
it's
covered in slime.
It's not even him. It's just a bucket of slime. Yeah. I think, and they'll just enhance the show's humor. And it's what he would have wanted us to do.
Yeah, you know,
So when in
Well-
doubt, kill slime.
we'll see what comes when the adrenaline kicks in the
Gotcha.
moment.
And for those listening who don't know who slime is, that's our CFO. What does CFO stand for? Creative Foundations Organization.
Chief Financials Officer.
Well, that's our chief financial officer for Earth Mind and Matter. We have one of those. He goes by the name of Jonathan, but we call him Slime instead.
Yeah,
And he's officially
his name is literally Slime.
yeah. And
like,
he's, on his ID it says that the pullover Slime. And he's like, what? And so officially we've decreed it. It's been decrepin.
decrepit. It's been dubbed upon
It's been dubbed. He would want us to sacrifice him, even in situations where it doesn't even involve him sacrifice. Like say we're just late for something, and we just push him in front of a bus.
Oh my God! Everyone, look! He just died.
But for the sake of us, and then we shoot the podcast, and I don't know, man. It's always cooler when at the end of the episode you can be like, in loving memory of.
Is it always cooler?
It's like you watch the movie and it feels great and you're like, oh man, that's a great fucking movie. And then you hear in loving memory of like Samantha, and you're like, damn, they lost somebody on the way. And you feel like that extra oomph, you know?
Damn.
It's true. Rest in peace, Samantha and Slime.
Samantha and Slime.
Alliteration. So what are we doing today, Javi?
Yo, man. We're talking about what's going on in the earth.
What's happening in our minds.
And this is why it matters.
This is Earth, Mind, and Matter. This is the podcast with me, Frankie.
And me, Javi.
And we talk about a bunch of shit. News, A.M.C section. What is the A.M.C section?
So our A.M.C section, if this is your first episode, if you don't know what the fuck we do on the show.
I feel like I can't believe I made it this far listening to these twerps.
Yeah, these dorks.
These diz bags.
These Delos.
These skis motherfuckers, you know? These Delos. Well, the A.M.C section is?
Well, we look at albums, movies, and comics every week. Well, we rotate throughout them.
Weekly, per episode, and stuff like that.
Per episode. So last week we covered an album.
We did Mac Miller's I Love Life, thank you.
Yep.
And then previous to that, we did a comic book, which was Deadpool. Dead Presidents. Before that, we covered The Five Bloods. Then we did the album.
We covered
what was the album?
Damn, I don't know.
What the fuck? No,
it's getting so hard to remember what we've covered. Like, realistically, we've been doing this shit for half a year.
Yeah, for a while now. Oh, that's crazy. But I want to really know. We could check. Realistically, we could just check. But let's see if we could get it right now. What album did we do?
Because new with this, I got the mouse at the table.
Damn, let's see if I can guess before you find out. We did. The fuck album did we do, man? I know it was some shit with instruments. I can't see that far, man. So right now, Javi's controlling the desktop from afar with his mouse next to the table. Yeah, you're going back far.
Okay. I can't read from here either.
Me neither, bro. Everything is just blur. I'm getting blind now, man. It sucks to lose your vision. Oh, you hear that train?
Oh,
what album?
I can't believe we didn't remember this one.
What album we did?
We did Dude Ranch.
We did Dude Ranch by Blink-182.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm a dickhead for that. So those are just the gist. I mean, that's a cycle of A.M.C right there. Dude Ranch, Dead Presidents, Deadpool, and what the fuck? No, and then The Five Bloods by Spike Lee. So we've done more episodes. This is episode 31?
Or 31.
It's crazy, man. That's fucking crazy. 31 episodes. It's more than at least more than 10 minutes of podcast out there.
we are getting close to Leo's age. Leo DiCaprio.
Oh, I was like, fucking, what's our socials though?
So, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're also on YouTube.
We're on Tinder.
Oh yeah, we're also on Tinder.
Well, what's our Instagram?
But fucking Instagram and TikTok is Earth My Matter Pod.
All lowercase.
All lowercase, all one word. We put our fucking on Instagram. We put daily stories and shit like that.
Our highlights, all that shit.
Put our highlights both on Instagram and TikTok.
Then we got the YouTube, which is just Earth Mind Matter. And that you'll see videos of us live, our beautiful faces.
Yep, you'll be able to see us fumble around and see how the magic of editing at times.
And we don't wear pants during the episode, so if you want to see us not wear pants during the episode.
And if you have listened to prior episodes, you know that we've had our dicks out before.
Yeah, it was
did I ever tell you about the time? I did tell you about this, a dream that I had where we got naked for the podcast.
No, I don't remember that.
I texted you about it, but I never explained it to you.
Explain it to me. Explain to the people what happened.
So
first of all, hey, yo.
It was honestly, we basically just copied Blink-182 and did the What's My Age Again music video where they run naked throughout the streets of LA.
Okay.
And we just ran naked throughout the streets of
While shooting
City,
the podcast?
While shooting the podcast naked as fuck.
That's
just running through the streets, just being like, Earth, Mind, and Matter.
That's the only way you should shoot a podcast, bro.
And that was a dream. Nice. I was like, wow. What a dream.
I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. I thought it was Dream. So I just kept singing it. I thought it was I'm just a dream. Nah, I remember that movie from Cheaper by the Dozen. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
That's a good movie, man. I think Steve Martin's in it. I might be bugging out.
Yeah,
is it? Yeah, that's a good movie, man. I used to watch it all the time when I was a kid. And nobody knows everything in the world but anybody but you. Here it goes. I fade out. That's a good movie, man. Check it out. Cheaper by the. I think.
Good fade.
Thank you. All right, but we do got some news stories. I know you got some news stories for us, Javi.
Yeah, man. So I got some news stories. We're doing something a little special for one of our news stories today, which is gonna be pretty cool, I think.
Nice.
But for the one story, it's a little short, and then we got the sort of special news story, which I'll just say we're doing a live commentary.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're gonna look at another short story of mine.
Okay.
And this short story is actually one of the first stories I showed you when we first met.
Nice.
So
nice. The throwback.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Link. God damn it.
He's like, fuck that story. I want news, bitch. Nah, nice.
But so for the first story that I got for you, it's a bit short, but I thought it was pretty interesting nonetheless. And the headline goes, North Texas School District rejects "In God We Trust" signs in Arabic and rainbow.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then the commentary that we'll be doing after that is about Biden's speech that he did yesterday.
Literally
'Cause
yesterday.
What's today? The September 2nd?
September 1st is Virgo season.
Wait, today's the 1st?
No, today's the 2nd.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It was Virgo season still though.
Yeah.
Woo, 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 woo.
So yesterday, Biden had his speech, basically where he warned Americans of Trump-led extremism.
Yeah. From what I've seen, just a small gist of it is he's just chatting, saying the same things over for 24 minutes.
24 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
And
I'm Biden.
I am sleepy.
Where am I? Hey, shut up, man. That's what he says, right? Doesn't he say that?
Hey, shut up, man.
He's like the less cool Clint Eastwood.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Clinton Eastwood isn't that cool.
He's pretty fucking cool. He's just old, so like it diminishes his cool.
He's also pretty sexist.
I don't give a fuck about that. Clint Eastwood is a cool motherfucker, man. He's a cool motherfucker. I mean, I care about if you're sexist or not. Absolutely. I'm just saying that like he's already dead. You know, I'm not saying forgive his sexism. I'm saying like he's practically. You've seen Gran Torino? It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. You know what I'm trying to say? And Harvey Weinstein's movies are great. They're fucking amazing. Tell me otherwise. Look up Harvey Weinstein's movie and be like, oh, separate the art from the artist.
and welcome to Earth Mind Matter once again.
I don't care for Clint Eastwood that much. So don't come at me. I can care less about motherfucker. I just know he just squints. And he's like, hey, I'm Clint Eastwood.
But
and then third story?
Third story is going to be a short story that I wrote. It's called To Verrsoon and Back.
Nice.
So we can just begin as we do. I don't know if you got anything else you want to say.
Oh, just something that I seen just because off the bat.
Yeah.
So they're getting rid of the MetroCard machines in MTA. So this is September 2nd, 2022. So who knows? They said they're going to finish this by 2023. I didn't read the whole article because goddamn, it was a long ass article. And I hate this article because like the first two paragraphs were just saying like just talking nonsense. It's like if I was to write an article about like light poles in the city and I started it off like, hey, so you know those magnificent light poles in the city, or as I like to call them, sticks of joy that represent the illumination of the city that never sleeps. Haha. Well, I guess that's just what I call them. Anyway, when I was a kid, it's like, bitches, get to the fucking point. Like, I don't care about anything you just said right now. Like, everything you've said so far is the most point. So that's how the story kind of started. So that's what it was me. But
so
basically,
it's anecdotal.
It's stupid. And that's what I'll call it. It's fuck anecdotal. It's stupid. And so, ultimately, they're going to get rid of the machines. They're going to rely on the service called Omni, OMNY, which is already released back in October last year. And you can technically already buy these gift cards. They're like kind of like Metro cards, but they're instead of swiping, you'll be able to tab, I'm assuming now. And then you can buy them in Target, like where they sell the gift cards for like Applebee's and stuff like that. And so these new machines, like you can't get these cards in the old machines. So the new machines will provide that. Have bigger screens for everybody to be able to see it more vividly. And yeah, I mean, it's a new system, so it'll get rid of swiping altogether.
Oh, wow.
So honestly speaking, this thought just came to my mind. All those like Supreme and Biggie Smalls Metro cards and stuff like that, those are going to skyrocket in price, I think so. Like maybe not in long term, but I think once they get rid of those machines, I think you'll be able to make a quick buck off those type of Metro cards. Like just for that little hint of people being like, I'll never have one again.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, in Boston, they use Charlie.
Boston. No, I'm stopping.
In Boston, they use Charlie cards.
In Boston, they just throw up on the fucking turnstile and it opens
Hey,
for them.
fuck you.
No, fuck you.
No, fuck you.
Nah, fuck you.
Oh my fucking god! Is that the horse from Horsing Around?
I don't know how Boston people speak, but I just know they speak like. Nah, I said, my bad. I said some shit to Jonathan today, but I didn't want to say it on the podcast. Anyway, but
No, but in Boston they use Charlie cards, and Charlie cards are all tap. They're not swipe.
Okay.
In their train system,
And they've been doing
And-
this. Wait, Charlie cards or Charlie cards?
Charlie cards,
Like the name.
yeah.
Oh.
And it's all just tap, no swipe or anything like that. They just tap and go through.
Oh, dope.
And like when I first went to Boston, I was kind of surprised. I was like, holy shit, like this has just been a thing like here for like how long? And like at the time, like my ex was like, oh, just like, I don't know, for as long as I can remember. I was like, damn, what the fuck?
Boston Tea Party.
So that's like the most progressive Boston is with their train system.
Boston's pretty clean though, man. Every time I've been there, it's clean as fuck over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's definitely got some before I
What's up?
hurt anyone's feelings. They definitely have a lot of people experiencing homelessness.
Experiencing homelessness. Don't you dare say that they're homeless.
Anyways, yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of them out there.
Yeah, fuck it. All right, so let's get on with the story. Sponsored by East Ciders.
What are you drinking? What is that?
Austin East Ciders pineapple.
Ooh,
It's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I feel like pineapple and like, but I had it at the supermarket near my house. I was like, let me just get a random drink. And I bought this pineapple cider because everybody's like, oh, I love apple cider. I'm like, I like pineapple cider. It's all right. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. I like it a lot. So,
Okay.
So just for the listeners, our sponsor. So good.
nice. Well, I got you right now with this first story.
Nice.
Again, it's a shorty, but it's interesting.
It's a shoddy.
It's a shorty. So, North Texas School District rejects "In God We Trust" signs in Arabic and rainbow. And so, a parent in North Texas tried to test the "In God We Trust" sign law for Texas schools, and that is a law passed by the state in 2021 that says public schools must display signs featuring the national motto if the signs are received as donations from a private entity or purchased with donated money.
Okay.
It is referred to as SB 797, and it applies to schools, universities, and like.
So if I bought a flag and donated it, it has to say "In God We Trust."
The school has to display it if it features a national motto. So you need to like donate something that says "In God We Trust," and it needs to have the American flag on it as well.
So what if I just put like "Fuck America and God," but then it has the American flag and it says "In God We Trust"?
Nah.
All right. All right.
But the sign must be displayed in a conspicuous place and it has to be framed or on durable poster board and must include an American flag.
All right.
And so a Christian conservative cell phone provider donated signs to Caroll ISD, which stands for Independent School District, which is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. And on Monday of this week, a parent in the school district attempted to donate additional "In God We Trust" signs written in Arabic and decorated with rainbow colors. Now, these signs, if I were to show you, you don't have your laptop or anything like that.
Today.
Damn, I wonder if I could actually pull it up here real quick as I speak.
Should have prepped, bitch. No, I'm kidding.
I wasn't prepared to have this power, Frankie.
No, I'm kidding. I'll say this while you look for it. So my thought immediately is like, you know how a lot of teachers today want to hang like they're a student. No, I'm kidding. They want to hang like LGBTQ flags and Black Lives Matter flags, and a lot of states are like, you can't do that, and a lot of states are, you can do that, right? And I feel like, props to anybody trying to like push the agenda in terms of like educating or expanding the minds of people. But don't you think it's more to be focused on that they teach the history of all that instead? You know, I feel that when you do put a flag up, you do push an agenda, because like when you can't just go like American flag, LGBTQ flag, and Black Lives Matter, you know, I feel like you have to just teach all that stuff. And, you know, I understand the emphasis on being like, oh, I don't, like, you know, for the religious motherfuckers that are like, oh, I don't want to teach my children about like LGBTQ, and for the white racists that I don't want to teach my kids about Black Lives Matter. But it's also just, why don't we like emphasize teaching the history about all these groups, and how about we keep no flags in the classroom, you know? Because I do think it's kind of not it is political to put those flags up, because then like, you know, you can advocate for the Confederate flag as well, or just any flag, you know? And I feel we should just keep every flag outside the classroom. And it's more than fair to keep the United States flag in the classroom, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, just because you have a... Does that make any sense? You know, I'm not trying to push... you know, I'm not trying to push either way. I'm just saying that, like, the American flag in the classroom isn't saying, like, oh, I'm Make America Great Again, or I'm this and that. Like, it's the American flag. We live here.
Yeah.
You get me? So, like, it would make sense. And then when the kids ask, what is that? Oh, it's the country we live in. But we have a lot of crazy history, and then we can teach about this. But I think having a flag that says Black Lives Matter, that's so new, and like, you know, it is, you know, ravagingly political in terms of today's day and age. I mean, the kids aren't gonna get the backlash of these Twitter motherfuckers, you know, being like, oh, you know, blah, 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 blah. And even a lot of people that like support Black people, of course, are against Black Lives Matter because their agenda is kind of thwarted and weird. Like, they're, you know, but I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm kind of reminiscent of when we talked about Bishop McManus and the Nativity School in Massachusetts, the school that put up the Pride flag or whatever, and the Black Lives Matter flag, and that bishop was like, "Yo, that ain't okay with religion and this and that."
But then he ended up being a dickhead himself, right? The bishop and everything. That fucking
got
asshole.
a DUI.
yeah.
But I'm reminiscent of that just because it's like, you know. You can do what you can, but there's always going to be flaws no matter what.
Absolutely.
And so it's a really difficult situation because I'm forgetting the one point that you just made. What was the last point that you made? Just
like not having, you know, any types of flags outside the American flag, you know, or I mean, even if you want to have just the American flag, like, all right, if that's not okay with you, like, let's put up every country's flag. You know how much flags that is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, like, I feel like I remember like seeing classrooms where they had flags from like all around the world.
And that's cool. But so they only had a selected few. Some could say in 2022, oh, I think you are diminishing the other countries, you know, the 1,000 other countries there are, whatever.
You know, you do what you can, but there's always going to be flaws, like perceived flaws, whatever the case is. Like, you can't ever please everyone.
What I think is weird is like making kids say the national anthem. Like, I get teaching them it, but like now looking back at it, like we used to do in school and stuff, like I would get up, put my hands on my chest, and like recite the national anthem. I'm like, this is like when I was a kid, it was like awesome. I was like, oh, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, and now I'm just like,
I'm a fucking American. Like, you're there, like, yo, man, in God we trust. Fuck yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
Let me spit on an immigrant. No, but it's looking back at it now, I'm like, that's kind of awkward, you know, like. Imagine we stood here right now and just did the national. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
My dick. Shut the fuck
and to the republic for which it stands.
We're not doing
one
it,
nation,
Frankie.
under God,
doing it, Frankie.
Indivisible.
No.
For liberty.
Stop.
And justice for all.
Okay.
What? Amen. It sounds like a prayer. I feel like I have to end it with the amen. Like, I didn't have to. First of all, I pulled that indivisibility on my ass. I didn't know that was. That's how deep. That's how
ingrained it is. That's so weird.
That's so weird, man. Because when I said it, I'm like, how am I? Like the outwards of me, my third eye was like, how do you know this? And my inner self was like, communism.
How do you know this?
Yeah, so even like that was actually truthful. Like, I did not think I knew the words. I blanked out and I just said it, and I was like, whoa. So that's how deep embedded it is.
And then Frankie just got up from the table and karate chopped me in the neck and fucking turned into a sleeper agent. It's insane.
I'm an American. I'm a fucking American. You know that song? I hate this song. It's America, not America. No, it's not that song. It's like, it literally just says like America, America, dun 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 dun. We no, American. You know that song?
I don't know.
It's so gross. It's the grossest thing ever, man. Like, I feel like Mexicans have like good music, even their anthem and stuff. Like, really, or like yeah. You know that stuff. And like all nations have like real good songs, but we just have. You don't know that song? I gotta play it for you, man. Hold on.
Man.
All right, we won't put it up, but I'll talk as I put this up and everything.
It just says American.
Yeah, American. Like I'm an American song.
Is it like a tech like a southern
It's
song?
it's like one of those songs where like I've seen like when I used to work at Starbucks, right? My own manager played it at the store one time, right? And it's not this song, the proud to be American, fight for your right, fight. That's a badass song. That's but it's like some other song. Damn, I don't know if I can find it, man. Holy shit, I'm an American song. Hold on, let's see if I can. If I can't find it, I'm not gonna play it. Let's see if it's this one. All right, we'll be quiet for a second. I hope we can leave that up in the podcast. Yeah, I got it. Well, I don't know. It's so weird, and I don't like that song at all. It's so awkward. I'll find it later though.
Okay.
Anyway, back to
okay.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
It is interesting that like you bring up like putting up flags and in the class and whatever. Like this isn't what's happening here.
Yeah.
They're not trying to put up like any Arabic or Islamic like flags or anything like that.
Whoa! I never mentioned that.
No, I'm just saying
Okay,
like
okay. I just see this on the desktop. This is an Arabic flag.
So if, for some of the images, it's like one it says in God we trust in Arabic, and it has the American flag and then the Texan flag right in the bottom right corner.
Oh, so it technically says it, but it says it in Arabic.
Yes,
and you can tell like those real, I don't know if you can say hick, but hick Americans, they'll be like, whoa, what the fuck is that?
So that's where a lot of the controversy comes with this situation.
Very interesting. That's super interesting.
And then they had this other one where it has like a sort of rainbow background. It just says "In God We Trust." And
not sort of. It
flag.
has a rainbow background.
Yes,
it says "In God We
the
Trust."
entire background's in God rainbow.
I like how if you really look at the picture, and I know you can't see it on Spotify because you're listening, but it looks like a penis. when you look
I guess
it's like two.
Damn, think what's on your mind, buddy?
This is LGBTQ, bro. Think about it. There's such thing as a penis formation. There's two Texas flags on the left and right side, and then the upwards in God We Trust. That's on purpose, bro. That's a penis formation right there. That's pretty funny.
Or, maybe this is just a sign that shows how phallic imagery is just posed throughout imagery in American society to just show that dicks are better.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before earlier in the podcast, when the cherry falls too far from the tree and you pick it up and it becomes sweeter than before it was, it's because of the soil that it once sprouted from in terms of American history that we deny, but it exists. So at the end of the day, man, just eat cherries, grapes, whatever you want to eat, but at the end of the day, in God we trust.
And remember, cherries were made, not grown.
They're grown, bitch. You can't make a cherry. You can't make a cherry, bro. No, but I know Spotify motherfuckers are like, what are they talking about? But go to the YouTube, look at the pictures, but this picture looks like a dick. I'm just saying, bro.
They have another picture that it says it's like in a blue background and says "In God We Trust" in white lettering. It has American flag, Texan flag in it, but the God is in rainbow lettering. So that's another donation that was put in.
I feel like people who thought of this rule or whatever it is for the flag didn't think the internet existed. You know what I mean? Because the internet's full of savages. And I'm not saying this is savagery. I think it's very clever that it's kind of saying like, okay, we're gonna do whatever we want as long as we do your terms. And it's following all the guidelines. The Arabic one, that is Arabic, right? The first one. And the second one is using the LGBTQ colors, which is a rainbow. I think first it was a rainbow, then it became LGBTQ colors. And I think it's clever. I think it's very clever. And were they trying to deny it after this?
Yeah. So
bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's
man.
where a lot of it comes in.
That's absolute bullshit.
And so, on Monday, a parent in the school district attempted to donate additional "In God We Trust" signs written in Arabic and decorated with rainbow colors. And the school board president informed him that schools have enough posters. But that parent wasn't buying that explanation.
I don't buy it. You hear my, that's bullshit, man. That's so crazy, man.
And we can't put in the supplementary and on the YouTube too, but there is a video of like the guy like holding out the signs like this is okay, but this isn't.
Yeah.
And
when it's literally saying the same thing.
And he says, it doesn't say you have to stop at one. That is your decision to stop at one. Yeah. Why is more God not good? And are you saying you don't have like 1 square foot of space in our buildings?
Yeah.
And he is true where he does stand in the fact that the law does not mention a limit on donated signs. So There is no limit.
Yeah, I think they're just being at that point just homophobic and like I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say racist, but pretty much just ignorant, I guess, because it's not like they're being like, I don't like this certain section of people, but as soon as they seen the language of Arabic, they're like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable and I don't want this hung up. Clearly, that's what they're trying to say without saying it.
Yeah.
Even though they made the rules that these people that provide the flags abided.
Yeah, and
That's some bullshit, man.
the article has like the what you call it, the law itself linked to it, so you could read the whole law itself.
That's crazy.
And there are points to bring up on both sides because again, if you pointing out how it's very much so like a sort of LGBTQ plus thing and whatever, that there were some arguments to be made in terms of the fact that like, well, maybe this is also pushing for another political agenda if it's sort of raising another flag in a sense. So
I see what you did there. But was that a joke or was that like literal, like raising a flag?
no, it's like I mean literal.
Oh,
like,
okay. I thought you meant like this raised a flag in racists and sexists and homophobics. You get what I mean? Like red flag.
Oh,
Oh,
nah.
damn. Miscommunication.
It's all right. It's all right. It happens when you're brown.
I guess when you're brown, you make more mistakes.
It just happens. But it's right. We come back from.
We gotta make our own flags, man. We gotta make a flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, continue. I like how we just stopped.
You know, it happens.
Yeah, no, it's just funny. Little what is it called? Comedic relief.
A little break.
Little. Nice. And we're back.
We're back.
We're back. I just saw Deadpool again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I told you I'm actually watching the Marvel movies forward now, like from the beginning. So I just watched Captain America. I've seen it before. Behold, who's the guy with the face that's red? What is he called?
Red Skull.
And he's a major character in later on.
He does reprise his role at some point way later in the movies. But
I like that you didn't spoil it. Thank you.
Yeah.
But then I watched Agent Carter, the 15-minute film. I watched it last night. I was pretty drunk and high. And I was like, yeah, I didn't have to make this. I feel like that was the first time I've seen a Marvel adaptation of something when I'm like, I'd rather have read this as a comic book. You know? Because I was like, it was 15 minutes worth of you trying to make this cool. And it was kind of cool. Like, it was cool seeing her fuck up some people and shit like that. But I was like, I'd rather have seen it in a comic book because at the very least, it would have been more interesting to me, you know? And shout out to Slime. He gave me his Disney Plus account.
Nice.
That's why I've been watching this stuff. And
you should share the email and password.
About to everybody. Oh my god. Oh my god, man. I want to, but I feel like a dickhead if I do. Ooh, maybe one day if he ever does me dirty, just tell everyone like, "Yo, go check out this account, free account," and then he just gets over flooded with that's like some dickhead shit to do, man. Wow. Anyway, so I seen Agent Carter. It just explains like his girl's thing, you know, whatever. Like Captain America's love interest. Sorry. And it was just like, this is 15 minutes worth of just absolutely nothing. Like they could have wrapped up the story, and
they have a whole show about her.
Yeah, I feel like the show may be better, but I feel like that little 15-minute interbreak was just useless. It was absolutely.
I never saw it, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, it was bad. I mean, not bad. You might like it. I don't know. Anyway, back to the Arabic LGBTQ USA Texas flag.
So, Caroll ISD, the independent school district, refused to comment on this whole situation.
But she's the one that like is part of the ones that made the rules.
So I'll get to that in a sec.
Ooh.
But yeah, like that school district completely refused to comment. And the cell phone company that donated signs to Caroll ISD also funded the campaigns of conservative candidates in several school board races, including Caroll themselves.
Okay.
So there you go in terms of having ties and like having ties into the votes and whatever the case is.
What was the school again? If you could tell me.
The school district is Caroll ISD.
Caroll CUK
with a CAROLL
ISD, like ISD. I'm gonna pull up their number. Maybe we can get some people to call them. Oh, I'm a dickhead. I looked it up on YouTube.
Bruh.
Texas School District. All right, so I looked up the Caroll Independent School District, and these are the ones that made the flag thing, and then they decided not to take out people's flags, even though they made the rules, right?
Well, they didn't make the rules. It was passed by state law.
Okay, and they didn't want to abide the rules.
Well, basically they were abiding the rules up until someone
submitted
submitted
Arabic
these
and
Arabic and rainbow
All right.
ones and whatever. And again, they refused to comment on this situation.
All right. So this is not like nobody's saying like, contact them or this and that, but their phone number is 817-949-8222 and it's 2400 North Caroll Avenue, Southlake, Texas 76092. And I'm only giving this information just to like if you want to tell them how great they are as a school or just like, be like, "Oh, maybe I'm interested in enrolling, like I just want to share their school." Just to be like, you just
I'm a little suspect of you, Frankie. Good save.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not. This has nothing to do with the story you were just mentioning. I feel like they said, Caroll Independent School District creating an environment that fosters excellence. So I only want to push the excellence towards our listeners and stuff like that for our 3 listeners. Fuck that school. It's a separate opinion outside of my advocacy for it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, completely separate subject. What were you saying?
That's honestly all I got for you. Again, it was a short story, nothing super crazy or anything like that. It was genuinely a slow news week. Yeah, it was very hard to find.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of juicy news. You heard about that story? I sent it. Did I send it to you? I know what you mean. There's some slow news week, but there's this one. I'll read you the headline. Right? Actually, this is something. Who's Ashley? No, actually, Donald Trump said he would pardon and apologize to those who participated in the attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Bro.
That's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
That's super interesting because first of all, he didn't do shit to them right now. Maybe he does some shit on the low personally, whatever. But these people, the first person got sentenced to go to jail, right? For the riot. You know about that?
Yeah. Ex-New York cop.
Yes. And so I feel that just like the Platinum Plan, I don't know if you know what that is.
Platinum Plan?
The Platinum Plan was, if I may be rewording it, but it's basically ensuring Kodak Black got with him, and I think Ice Cube as well. People criticize Kodak Black and Ice Cube for doing this, but the black community was like, "Why are you siding with Trump?" And it's because Trump is saying that like reparations basically to the black community, right? Black, not back, and essentially he was promising him that, and I think he did it schematically because he did it towards the end of his presidency. Like when the election was coming up and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, no black reparations, this and that. What I'm saying is that I think it was clearly a scheme because he knew he was losing. Right. And ultimately, I feel that he's doing the same thing with these people that got arrested, just the rioters and everything, because he was nowhere to be found when people requested him to be there for them. All these rioters and all that stuff. I mean, the fact that he's gone unpunished for somebody dying. And I know it sounds silly, but when the president says do something, like technically you gotta listen, right? Like if not Donald Trump, like Biden, if he managed to come into this room right now and he was like, what if he was like, do 5 push-ups? Do we have to do it?
I mean, I don't think so.
We don't have to, right? But there's a certain, like, more so than anybody else, we'd be like, do we have to do these push-ups? You get me? But he's not a dictator, so we don't have to do those push-ups at all. But there's this sense of like, oh, technically he's our president, So that's why I'm saying he should be at fault for the riot stuff because he pretty much maneuvered all that shit. You get me? So I think he's using this as a form of re-election strategy.
I mean, it's interesting because we'll get into like this kind of segues into our second topic.
Into the second topic. Yeah. I should have brought that up before. Actually, you want to hold that thought real quick?
Okay.
All right. The one article that I wanted to bring up is I have it here in my notes, my little itty bitty notes.
Itty bitty.
Kansas teacher who was suspended after refusing to use students' preferred pronouns has been awarded $95,000 in lawsuit.
Oh,
so a student in Kansas was I don't know what they were doing exactly, but I think they were asking. It was a biological female who was asking to be referred to as a he, like he, him, instead of a she, her. All in all, the teacher was like, "Hey, like this goes against my religious beliefs, so I'm gonna refer to you as the name you put down, or your parents put down, or you put down into the files, and I'm gonna just address you by your name, and that's as far as the teacher will go to respect her side or his side and the teacher side, right? But because the teacher did this, the school suspended the teacher for 3 days. So she sued the teacher, and she got suspended for not using the right pronoun, and she won her lawsuit.
Okay.
She was awarded $95,000. So what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like she didn't really like go against policy or anything like that. I feel like she tried to compromise as much as she could.
I think so too. I think it doesn't go beyond anything except just being within, like, what'd you say just now?
Compromise.
Yeah, like compromise and just what you sign up for, you know?
Yeah, like
Like if a kid was like, call me fuckface, you know, and teacher's like, I'm not calling that. And you're like, I'm not saying that that's the equivalent to that, because there's a clear difference in terms of what you want to be called in terms of gender identity and just being silly. But any outward, I don't know if there's anything within the teacher like contract in terms of compliance with that, but clearly within this school, you know, law, like rules, there wasn't that. That's why she won the lawsuit. But I'm saying like, that's why in this certain instance, and she was awarded the money, there's no clear differentiation of like, call me this, call me that. And she's like, I'd rather not because I preferably wouldn't, you know? I don't know if it interchanges between like New York, California, and Kansas. I just think it's an interesting story.
And where did this happen?
Kansas.
Kansas?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, I'll read this. It says, Pamela Ricard, that's the person who wanted to be regarded, sued Geary County Schools in March, saying she was reprimanded. Oh, no, actually, the teacher was Pamela Ricard. She was reprimanded and suspended for 3 days last year for addressing the student as the wrong pronoun.
Okay.
And one thing people should look up is somebody called Jordan Peterson, who is very famous. And he goes against the whole ideology. This is his opinions, not mine. Just the whole ideology of just shifting the world for people's like pronouns and preference of like, you know, this and that, and just saying that, I mean, it goes back to those people that really just believe that we can't just switch up everything because this is your beliefs. And he doesn't agree necessarily with just changing society's norms to, you know, just benefit those because that's what they believe they are rather than what they factually are. Again, his opinion is not mine, you know? And I think this is a little branch of it, you know, and I think it's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think just in this case with the teacher and stuff, like it doesn't seem like they were doing it out of malintention or anything like that. Like they were really just kind of like, I'm gonna do my best to compromise with this. It's not like they said. It's not like they said no. I'm gonna call them a she. Yeah. Like the fact that she referred to them as their name. Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, that. I feel like that should. I feel like that's a clear indication of that.
I think she also may have referred to him as Miss. I think so. Whatever, like this and that. Like, but again, if there's no indication of it in her like contract, I mean, I know I should be looking more in the story of it, but pretty much that's the gist of it. You know, I mean, this is just our thoughts on it. That's why
off the cuff.
Yeah, off the cuff. So, you know, if we get in the factual and this and that, but that's definitely the headline of the story. I just think that it's I don't know, man. This is other video which is disgusting, man. Of there's somebody who identifies as a he, right? And she biologically she's a female, but she wants to identify as he. It's fine. And she goes up to this manager at some restaurant. And I'll put this up on the supplementary and on the YouTube to an extent so we don't get copyrighted. But she gets mad at the manager. She's like, hey, like, your whole staff has been calling me he the whole time. Like, oh no, she the whole time. Like, how dare they do that? Like, what are you gonna do about it? And the manager, who clearly can't speak that much English, who's trying, he's like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm sorry they did that, this and that, blah, 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 you know? I think he almost steps up and calls them was it a he? No, she, because she wants to be identified as a he, you know, or whatever, you know. And I'm not saying whatever, like, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, I don't remember the story, so, you know. And at one point, the manager, like, not menacingly, he's just like he's like, person, I don't know what you want me to do right now. Like, what do you want me to do? Because I've already apologized. I'm just saying. And then she's like, and she's recording him. You know, he's recording him. They recording him. And they're like, what are you going to do about it? How far have you trained your staff for transgender? Like, you know, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And it was just, I don't know, man. I just, I have no comment, but my whole thing it's just, it's kind of, it gives me very, similar vibes to the young black woman who was coming at the young black man for having young white man for having dreads, and she's like kind of following him the whole way throughout the school and saying like, why are you appropriating my culture? And this white kid with dreads is like, yo, can you just leave me alone? And she's like, why are you appropriating my culture? And it's kind of just like, whoa, like, you know, what the fuck, man? Like, not everywhere is a political ground to uphold this, especially like videotaping and stuff like that, you know? And so what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, with videotaping, all I can say is that, you know, you technically have a legal right to say you can't record me.
Yeah, but outside of that, like, I'm just saying in terms of like this lady coming at the manager.
No,
and,
I'm just saying, because like in a situation like that,
yeah,
that's the first thing that's coming out of my mouth. Like,
yeah, but once it's on YouTube, it's, and then if you're on public property, you can record. Like, you can say you don't record me, but that video is going to be shared millions and thousands of times.
Yeah.
It doesn't reject the idea that people have seen this already. You know?
No, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
but like in a court case, it definitely rejects like anything of that.
You think somebody who's let's assume that he doesn't have that much money, or like he's undocumented or this and that. You think they're gonna go to court for this, or they even know they can go to court for this? I'm not saying that people.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm just saying, like, that's not the point of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
that's just like a side point.
That's just a side thing.
like,
I'm not trying to
yeah.
make that like the point of anything. I'm just like, that's just a quick thing of like whatever. Like, that's the first thing that's coming out of my mouth in a situation like that. Like, obviously, that's not the whole point.
Yeah,
I just wanted to get that out there.
for sure.
But no, I mean, I think it's just a very difficult thing because I don't necessarily have a strong stance either way. It's just more so like I feel like there are so many changes happening in the world, and it's difficult for anyone to really keep up with it.
Yeah,
And to dictate these changes as like a new standard in society is a very difficult thing to do, no matter what it is, no matter if it is good or bad. Like, to say that this should be the new standard is a very difficult task to go about.
why?
Like, because you have to get a whole world behind you to complete that, essentially. So it's just, there's always going to be people in opposition, and whatever the case might be, there's always going to be people that are reluctant or hesitant, and whatever the case is. But it, you know, that's just how the world works.
Yeah, but I feel like in this situation, it's not reluctancy or just opposition. I think it's just straight up like, oh, I just genuinely assume you. Like, I've seen a lot of men that have long ass hair from behind, and I'm like, oh, that's a woman. And then they turn around, I'm like, oh shit, like, you know. And I've seen a lot of women that have like short hair from behind. And it's not, I'm saying like your hair dictates what you are as a gender, but like off the realistic, like all like jokes aside, like, off a human being, like, you know, once I'm told this and that, like, I'll acknowledge that, and I'm glad to. You know, I'm always glad to acknowledge whatever you want to be called. I'll gladly call you that, whatever. But just genuine mistakes. You know, I have long ass hair. You get me? Like, I'm a big motherfucker though. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of aki, not like bro, like I'm just a big motherfucker. So like, if I have long hair, like, you know, but you know, you can be like, oh, is this a long haired person? You know. But there's people who, you know, like, I just think that there's genuine confusion in this and that. And I just think that to go about it isn't to just be attacking one person and come at their whole staff, because like they were coming at some restaurant, but it's just like, I know like Starbucks has all this training on like LGBTQ friendliness, and all these big companies have this training on it. But do you think that's cheap? You know, I feel like these big companies, not just Starbucks, but a whole bunch of other ones, do it because they have the legal team to assemble a certain course to abide that type of, you know, how can I say, just education, right? But these small town restaurants don't have all that stuff. You get me? And I feel that just because you're treated a certain way at a Starbucks or a McDonald's or a Taco Bell or these, like, you know, Whole Foods markets, you know, when you go to a local chain, or maybe it wasn't a local chain, maybe it was just a small town restaurant, but I don't know. It's just, like you're saying, like, it's a newfounded way of looking at the world. I just think it's always been around, like transgender and this and that, whatever. Just like newly accepted, like newly, like what university? Not university. Like,
I mean, I say it like all the time that I feel like, you know, regardless that it's only become more of a highlight in today's society, but people have been gay forever. Like, you look at the Greeks and shit; they were having fucking gay orgies all the time. And
Vikings had dreads, like white Vikings had dreads.
So it's just shit like this has always been around throughout history. Yeah. It's just and
like socially.
like, and I'll just say, like, I'm not necessarily saying that the reaction of well, in terms of that situation,
She was being a dickhead. She was being a dickhead.
in terms of that situation, I would definitely say that, like, that person was a bit out of line.
She was being a dickhead.
To just-
I feel like we shouldn't feel uncomfortable to say that because she was. You get me? Because she was screaming at people. Like, how many times have you been in the food service industry and somebody's screaming at you for something that you can't control?
a few times.
And you, what you want to say? Like, you're being a dickhead, but what you actually say is like, "Hey, ma'am," like, or whatever you are, like, "Hey, like, excuse me, like, I'm sorry about that," you know, because you want to keep your job, right? That's what I'm trying to say about that, you know.
No, I mean, I understand.
He was being a dickhead because I'm only interchanging between the way I address this person because
I'm just saying that.
yeah, we
Trying
tried
to.
to because Ezra Miller was hard as fuck. But I'm genuinely trying to be courteous to this person's like gender identity, but I also feel that in this situation, when we put up the video, I just want to show it. Also, you want to see it now?
No. Show me after.
Show you after. Okay,
Yeah.
just because. I don't know. I mean, I've only seen him. I'm not like enraged, and I don't really have a genuine stand. Like for me, it's like, again, be whatever you want and whoever you want because all humans are. Everybody's weird. I think everybody's a weirdo and just has the right to be whatever they are for sure. I just think how you go about things doesn't give you the right to just scream, you know. And I think this is a weird time. And yeah,
But you know,
what's up?
I will say, you know,
What's
if
up?
you're louder,
you're right.
if you're louder, you're right.
You're wrong.
That wasn't loud enough, so you're not right. You want to try being right, Frankie?
I'm microaggressed right now.
You're microaggressed? I can't hear you.
I'm microaggressed.
I can't hear you, Frankie. What? You don't sound right to me. You sound wrong. Because
If you're racist.
What?
I think we just found out something, guys. I think we just.
I didn't even hear you. I heard racist, but I didn't even hear you.
I can't wait till you edit the episode so you can hear what I said.
Oh, man.
Nah, I said if you're racist. You went, oh!
If what?
Never mind. Anyway.
God damn it, ears.
But that's pretty much the whole story, right? That's the whole story.
That's a whole story for you.
What a be. I only went on those two things because they remind me of this, you know, topic. Again, I'm very sensitive to it in terms of just respecting people. Like I'm a big respect people. I feel like one thing I want to address also in the show is that we say a lot of crazy shit, but we also like just mean it lightheartedly, but with like a serious tone too. Like I think we say a lot of things that we joke a lot around, but we really have our stances on this stuff too. Like not to take back all we said, like, oh, everything we said is just jokes. It's just conversation. And I feel that a lot of people shield their actual conversation with, I don't pre-plan. I only pre-plan the news stories. So do you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what comes out during is pretty much just free talk. And we don't really censor a lot. I think the only things that we've ever censored is like future A.M.C topics, last names, like addresses, workplaces. Like that's pretty much our borderline of censorship, you know? But I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's crazy, man. We've talked about this actually. I've talked about this with you, man. Like how there's a lot of shit that we say in the world, and anybody could take it as bad. We could be totally clean, and somebody's gonna be like, "These motherfuckers."
I mean, like, fucking. I'll say this, but just like even with slime, like when he kind of took out of context my thing of like, if you think you're a woman, and he was just.
Oh yeah, we had a whole conversation about that. And
and he was, and he kind of assumed that because I think that I think it's okay for people to sort of make these laws or make these claims and statements that like everyone needs to follow them.
And I think it's a developing situation, and I feel like we don't fight each other because of it. I don't disagree with you, but I don't necessarily fully agree with you. I just think altogether it's a developing situation because, like you said earlier, it's kind of newfounded in terms of social norms that are trying to outgrow old ways of thinking and this and that. But again, these things have always existed,
Yeah, because like I was so shocked when he was like, "Oh, so what? You think they should just like make these laws?" And I was like, "What? When did I say that?"
And by the way, like mind you, we were drinking at that moment, and one key advice my friend Brian ever told me was just, if you're ever at a bar, don't ever talk two things with people: politics and religion. It'll never ever sprout the best of things. Just talk anything else. You have so many things to talk about. Don't talk politics at a bar. Don't talk religion at a bar. Get high as fuck and talk about those things. You'll get to your truest points. You'd be like, man, all we are just brains connected to our eyes, connected to our mouth.
Man, if you really think about it, the eyes that you have are just windows to the soul.
And then,
How did you know I was gonna say that, man?
whoa!
I just thought of that, man.
Bro. I think we're on the same frequency, man.
This is the things that the government don't want you to know, man. Yeah.
No, man, I'm too high, man.
That's the Jeep on the left hand side.
Name's Tom Sawyer. I've been listening to fucking Tom Sawyer by Rush lately, over and over again. What'd you say about society? Nah, I just dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun. Down, no, I fucking love that song, bro. I've listened to it on repeat so long. I've been waiting to tell you on this podcast. Names I'm so I love that song, bro. Listen to Rush, Tom Sawyer. If you haven't, it's a good fucking song. Fucking love it, man. Like repeat on longer, man. What'd you say about him?
Song of the week.
Song of the week. Check that shit out. DM and be like, this song is good. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Yeah, man, I really love that song. But I don't know. I just short story, so we gotta make up for it somehow. You know what I mean? A little bit of beho action, but it also invoked a lot of thought within me on that. And I just for just coincidentally have just been seeing a lot of stories revolving these two things. And nothing on the Arabic side except just oil and U.S. terrorism. You feel me? U.S. is a son of a bitch, and that's a good way to segue into the Joe Biden shit. Yeah, because I have a lot of things to say about this motherfucker, but. And I don't care for either president. Obama, Biden, Trump, Clinton, all these motherfuckers are just useless pieces of shit that just represent all of us, which are just useless pieces of shit, except doctors and cops, MDs,
MD cops,
and traffic cops.
Imagine being a cop and a doctor at the same time. Imagine being a traffic cop and you're like, fuck. There's a surgery that needs to be done.
You're a white cop and you shoot an unarmed black man. And like, oh my God.
I can save his life.
And then you save him and he comes back to life and he goes to hug you and you're like, oh my God.
I thought he was gonna go for the kill. I thought the black guy was gonna kill the cop. It's like, man, that's what you get.
That's crazy. That'll be pretty funny. Yeah, man. Fuck school shooters. Fuck school shooters. Those are real terrorists and racist cops and stupid cops. Yeah. Yeah.
For the kids.
But now we're any more comments on the flag? I just think it's just some dickhead move to just really literally that's like making a rule and then the old saying that I'm not gonna say, but I'll say it to inform people that don't know about it. Indian giving, you know that phrase? It's very
Indian giving.
It's like I'm gonna give you something and then take it back.
Oh,
that's like people don't use that phrase no more. I don't use that phrase no more at all. It's the only phrase I could literally think of that makes sense. But it's basically saying like, oh no, we're gonna make a law as long as you abide this. You can definitely put up your flag. And as soon as people abide it in their own specific manner, they're like, nah, I don't feel like it. I don't want to put up that flag. But if you put up like the Cowboys, or just like Trump's hat on it and you put In God We Trust with two Texas flags and the American flag, they would definitely put it up. So that's just some bullshit and just grimy.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I just kind of feel like this is a very novel situation where in terms it's very new. Yeah. Where it's like, I think this is going to be a developing case as it goes on.
Yeah. You think you could go to the Supreme Court like the other ones?
I definitely think so because I was very reminiscent of my Supreme Court episode that I did about the religion for the win and things like that. Yeah. And it's just, I could definitely see this hitting Supreme Court if it gets pushed far enough.
One of the questions I'll put in the supplementary is, do you think all flags should be allowed in classrooms or no flags? Okay. Just in case. I want to see who's opinion. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. But just know if you disagree with us, you're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
If you disagree with us, you disagree with Frankie.
Thank God.
Because me and Link, we think otherwise. Where is he? He's over there.
Over there. He's on the computer.
Okay, I did this, and I didn't know if he was on my left or not.
Check out the YouTube Earth Mind Matter. Check that shit out. I've been working my ass off on those videos. Yeah. I'm tired. No, but just so you can see our physical side. I feel like I forget that we get recorded. So whenever I do show my hands, like whenever I do this, I know you can't see it, but whenever I do this, like I put
You
my
feel
hands
like
to
you're
my
on a
side,
one wheeler.
I feel like I'm just weird looking. But fuck it. You know what are you gonna do? We got a candle here today.
Got a candle, nice aesthetic. Can you smell that?
I do.
It smells like mother. That's the name of the candle.
What the fuck? Really? It's called Mother?
Yeah.
Check. Well, shout out to Sand and Fog making. No, it's called Fresh Jasmine, bro. What are you talking about? What the fuck, bro? I wish I could show the people. Show the camera. So the fucking candle is called Fresh Jasmine, and the title and the company name is Sand and Fog, but the top of it has the definition of mother. So Javi thought this was the scent of mother.
It made sense to me.
This is how mom smells like. What's the definition of mother?
Mother. Noun.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who loves unconditionally, is always there to help, and puts everyone before themselves.
I don't know how you thought that was a scent, bro. What the fuck?
It made sense to me.
How, Sway? How? He looked at the SKU code and he was like, this is how many people worked in this can. The SKU is the barcode with the numbers on top of it. For those that don't know, that's that Modelos. Delos. If you call your Modelos Delos, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Now you Lucas though. Stay here, Lucas. Fuck with
Continue to live here.
Continue to live here. But now we're on story 2.
Story 2.
Whoopee.
And we're on to the next topic.
We're on to the next topic, and so this one is first, I said a live commentary on Joe Biden's speech that was done yesterday in Philadelphia, right? September 1st?
September 1st. It's a first for us doing a live commentary.
Okay.
And so you guys will be able to hear the speech yourselves
Joe Biden.
if you haven't heard it yourself.
Yep.
So hopefully it'll be a little informational for you.
Yeah. We'll also put it up on YouTube so you can see the speech as you visually. But I mean, obviously the most important factor is Joe Biden's talking, or what we can call it talking.
But you got anything to say before we go in?
Nah, bro. Let's just do this shit.
Let's just do it. All right.
So right now, Joe Biden is making out with his wife, touching her ass. He left her and he said, all right, now I'm going to talk. Right about.
Americans, please, if you have a seat.
He says, take a seat because it's going to be a minute.
I speak to you tonight
But I have a heart
from
attack.
sacred ground in America. Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its declaration
He
of
has red
independence
lights.
to the world
Behind them.
more than 2 centuries ago.
You know what? Hold on. I got to pause
An
it
idea.
immediately. You know what I saw? Fox News post.
What?
Not Donald Trump. Joe Biden.
Wrong white guy.
Joe Biden puts hellish red lights behind him during presidential speech.
I seen Joe Rogan post the picture of this, and he was like, "Imagine thinking this was a good idea."
Like, look at it.
Yeah.
Look at this
It
shit.
looks crazy. It looks like a fucking scene out of Apocalypse. Though I've never seen the movie. Actually, I have. Not
And
Apocalypse.
look at this fucking glow in the hand, glow in the dark hands. Insane.
So the guy. So there's 2 Marine soldiers behind them, and one of them chose to wear glow in the dark or reflective gloves. Like he was like, I know I'm gonna be on TV. I gotta wear my best Nike fit gloves. Yeah. So Biden's about to give his speech.
All right, here we
Unique
go.
among nations. That in America,
America.
we're all created equal. This is where the United States Constitution was written and debated. This is where we set in motion the most extraordinary experiment of self-government the world has ever known. With 3 simple words.
Which words, Biden?
We the people. We
the people, motherfucker. The people.
Yeah.
These 2 documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy,
I feel like he's in the room
are
with
the
us.
rock upon which this nation is built.
You're like 10,000
They're
years
how
old.
we became the greatest nation on earth.
Yeah.
They're why, for more than 2 centuries, America has been a beacon to the world. But as I stand here tonight,
Barely.
equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So
We don't.
tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can
Barely.
about the threats we face,
This guy stutters all the time.
about the power we have in our own hands to meet these threats,
This guy barely powers
about
his
the
own
incredible
hands.
future that lies in front of us.
This guy has 10 years left of
Only
future. Barely,
we
too.
choose it.
I
Must
think he's
never
going to die
forget.
during presidency, man.
You think so?
We,
Yeah.
the people, are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago.
Preach.
We, the people, have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty
Oof. I
that was
mean,
lit here at Independence Hall.
gonorrhea.
They got lit in
Flame.
Independence Hall.
That lit
Probably.
our way through abolition, the Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights. That sacred flame still burns.
If you could pause it real quick.
Now,
I feel like the whole point of this speech is nothing. Like I thought he was gonna address Taiwan, fucking coronavirus, monkeypox, this and that. All like I know if you're listening now, we'll talk throughout it because you don't want to just listen to Biden's old ass just talk. But there's no basis to this except just shitting on Trump supporters.
Yeah, like
In
definitely
the city of brotherly love, by the way. I want to start this off by saying this is the city of brotherly love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely takes a turn at a certain point where it doesn't become so much about that as much as it becomes of like a general thing of like, look at how good we're doing.
Mhm.
Like by the end of the speech, it becomes like a whole different thing. I feel like,
Okay.
but I mean, yeah, definitely the first half of it is more so just like look at what they are doing to our country,
which is hilarious when you want to say us as a country. But we'll continue. We'll get to that part.
All right, here we go.
now in our time, as we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just, that is the work of my presidency.
You hear the ambulance in the
Mission.
background?
Yeah,
That's Biden's
I
future.
believe in it with my whole soul.
whole soul.
First,
Hey, yo.
we must be honest with each other
Okay.
and with ourselves.
Something the government's never
Too
done.
much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
You're not normal.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans
MAGA.
represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
So did the Biden liberals.
I want to be very clear. Very clear.
Let's
up
go
front.
Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Fucking go.
Not
Let's go,
every
Mets.
Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not
Fair
every
enough, fair
Republican
enough.
embraces their
I think
extreme
more-
ideology.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Not at
I
all,
know.
bro.
Because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Can you stop it there real quick then?
And that
So he just said these MAGA Republicans don't represent all the Republicans, but the majority of the Republicans are MAGA dominated. That you know what I'm trying to say?
No, it's a massive like
Contradiction.
Contradiction.
It's stupid. That's just already. And again, like, go to a classroom of kids, right? And this is completely irrelevant, but go to a classroom of kids and look at the people that like are bullying kids, right? What do we do to those kids?
Put on detention.
Detention or what? Send the counselors. Ask
Okay.
them what's going on. That's what AOC does now. People were failing grades and stuff like that. Like we now put more emphasis on them to help them out, you know? And so I feel like this whole speech is going to be filled with contradictions of just fuck MAGA people. But we're united. Except them. but everybody in the United States is included.
Well, and that definitely speaks to how I say the second half of the speech really speaks to that, about how like the second half of the speech is just so much of like, look at how good we're actually doing and this and that, whatever the case is. So it's like I wrote it here in my notes. If I bring it up, because by this point in the speech,
which is like just started.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So yeah, like I said in my notes, Biden traveled to Independence Hall on Thursday to warn that Americans' democratic values are under assault by forces of extremism loyal to former President Trump, using a prime time address to define the midterm elections as a battle for the soul of this nation,
aka a waste of time that he could be using to do much more important things.
And I also wrote down that Biden blames Trump for election deniers and political violence, which kind of I feel like he's referencing January 6th, if I'd ever really saying it.
Yeah.
And I think he said already by this point, but that Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. And he continued to say, but there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Yeah.
And is a threat to this country.
Man, and this whole debt thing that he just released, there's a lot of people that don't like I don't know, man. It's so complicated. But continue the speech. We'll keep listening to it.
Okay.
We'll try to listen to the majority before we start talking.
That is a threat to this country. These are hard things. But I'm an American president.
That you
Not
are.
a president of red America, blue America, but of all America. And I believe it's my duty to love
said
with you,
duty.
to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful.
Lying ass.
And here, in my view, is what is true.
You can't see, man. You're
MAGA
10,000 years
Republicans
old.
do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America
You were
where there
born
is no right to choose,
in
no
1902.
right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
NSA.
They promote authoritarian leaders and they
I'll
fan the
pause it
flames
right
of
here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Biden's a religious man too. So I don't know what his stand. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's for abortion, but I wonder. What's up?
So I wrote down, well, he already said this before, but he cited the extraordinary experiment of self-government represented by the American Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. And he'll say this in a second, but he says, history tells us...
Well, let him say it, Javi. No, I'm kidding.
You know, fuck you, Frankie. How about that? But he says, history tells us a blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy.
AKA the Black Lives Matter protest.
Anything, really.
Yeah.
But he, like he just said, he said that MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. But something he doesn't mention is nothing about abortion rights.
No, he does mention that. He said that. He said, he just mentioned about abortion rights.
He mentions contraception, but he doesn't mention anything about abortion rights.
I think that's what his whole point of it is. Like, you know, like, I mean, I'm not trying to justify him, but I think that I when he said that, I took it as, I think he said Roe versus Wade.
He didn't.
Well, even then, I still think that what he's talking about is just like contraception. I think overall embodies the idea of just like, you know, your choice, your body, your choice.
I think those are two different things though, because like contraception is like getting pregnant, or it's supposed to prevent pregnancy. He's not talking about anything of your rights once you're pregnant. So
it's interesting, but I disagree. I think that only reason I disagree is because once he mentioned that, I think that for me it was just, again, like when that whole thing happened, it made it tougher for people to get, you know, Plan B pills and just more things like that. And I think that it falls in line. Yes, it's not, you know, strictly addressing it, But I also like when I was hearing it just now, I took it exactly as just like, like just abortion, this and that. But that, you're right. Technically speaking, literally speaking, like in terms of like actual language, no. But I took it as that when he said it.
I mean, because like again, when I heard that, I was like contraception, like, and I even like Googled it to double check, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely just like things that are sort of pre like pregnancy. So it's just
there's abortion pills though.
But would that be considered contraception then?
Yeah.
If it's for abortion?
Yeah, because it contracepts a baby. I don't know.
But
yeah.
But I don't know, because it's post-pregnancy that it sounds like from when you're supposed to take that.
Take it after you're pregnant.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If it's post-pregnancy, then is that contraception? Because contraception is supposed to be to prevent pregnancy.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that regardless of the literal point you're making right now, in terms of a speech, like once he said that, like I guess that's how I took it. But you're right. Like in terms of literal addressing Roe versus Wade abortion stuff, he didn't do that. So you're right. I'm just saying for me, when he said that, as like a listener of the speech for the first time, I've only heard like 3 minutes like later on. I took it as just like, well, if you're talking about contraception, you're talking about abortion. But I guess if he doesn't outright say it, he isn't. But that's just how I take it as a listener.
Yeah, I mean, just because from like what I've seen like online from doing my research about the speech and whatever, it's just that Joe Biden is very religious himself. So there's just
that's why I mentioned the whole like I'm pretty sure he's a religious man and wouldn't do that.
Yeah, so it's just there's talk about that when he doesn't necessarily mention anything about that.
I think for politicians, it's safer not to address it at all.
And that's kind of why I pointed it out. It's just because it's like he doesn't directly say anything about it. Sure, he mentions contraceptions, but he doesn't directly mention anything about Roe v. Wade or anything like that. And that's a very, like you could say, trendy thing to talk about.
I wanna see actually if like contraception, because you're right, contraception seems more like condoms, IUDs, female condoms, like all that stuff. Let's see, forms of contraception. I can't talk right now. Contraception. Okay. So I just Googled it. Right, so it's pretty much birth control, right? Let's see. The condom, oral, the IUD. Let's see what else. Curious. IUD. Is Plan B contraception?
I believe so. Yeah.
It is. It just said it right. Diaphragm. So you're right. It pretty much is just, but I don't know. Yeah, you're right. In terms of that, but I just still took it as just him addressing the right, because I know when like Roe versus Wade got overturned and stuff like that, it also limited contraception choices. Yeah. So there's like, there's a clever way of speaking as a politician, which is dirtbag is.
Yeah, and I think that's just like the highlight of that.
And he never addresses abortion in the whole speech.
He does not.
That's interesting.
So it's just, that's why I thought it was interesting to bring up, because it's like, you mentioned contraceptions, but that's the most you're gonna do.
Yeah, but he's mentioned abortion before.
I didn't look that closely if he's mentioned it before in the past, but none of the articles that I looked at had any links to that. But yeah.
Okay.
You ready to go on?
I'm ready to go on.
Let's go.
Violence that are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country.
Wait, pause real quick. 3 hours ago, breaking. Biden's Department of Veterans Affairs wants to offer abortions countrywide to veterans and dependents who are victims of rape or incest or whose health is at risk. So this is 3 hours ago.
Repeat that? Whoa. What?
Biden's Department of Veterans Affairs wants to offer abortions countrywide to veterans and dependents who are victims of rape or incest or whose health is at risk.
Oh,
so
wow.
I think, like that's 3 hours ago. Today is September 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now time is 6 o'clock. So that's what I mean. Like I'm pretty sure that his not party, what is it? His house or whatever, like it does support abortion in general. And then I mean, there's lines to it, man. Some people will support abortion, but they only support it in regards of like rape or incest, and some people don't support it if it's just like you not using a condom that night or this and that, like you don't use.
I mean, you could also just say that Biden is in agreement with it because that's where the approval ratings are.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean for sure. But then you can say everything he's doing is everything due to approval law, which is all presidencies. You get me?
To an extent, yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you can't go that line without saying like. I mean, I don't think he actually means anything he says. I don't think any presidents do. You get me? So I'm in agreement with you. But if you go down that road, then you're saying that everything he does is just only for his approval rating, You get me? Because like we don't know the truth or not. Like we never know because the president. That's a tricky line to go down towards, you know? Like, at least with Trump, I can genuinely say that he's an egotistic motherfucker who's doing things for himself and his own legacy of, like, whatever he wants to be a part of, you know? But even then, am I right? Am I wrong? Like, we don't know these people personally, you know?
I mean, it's like Mac Miller said. He doesn't know Trump. He can't say anything about him. He's got to sit down with him.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. If you're saying that he's doing it for his approval rating, then
No, I'm not saying that's why he's doing it. I'm just saying that could be a possibility of why he's doing this.
that's what but I'm saying, I mean, there's endless possibilities.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing one out.
Well, that's my whole responsibility. Like, just like everything, it's either everything is for approval ratings or just, you know? Yeah, I don't know. But let's listen to his old ass speak.
All right.
They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th,
So he addressed him.
brutally attacking law enforcement, not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections. They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people. This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people.
Trump nullified the popular vote
That's why
with the electoral vote.
conservatives,
What do you mean?
like federal circuit
Trump
court-
lost the popular vote.
Did he?
Yeah, what the fuck? He'd been lost at the Hillary. He always has lost the popular vote.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he won the electoral vote. That's why I know. Like, he's trying to say in terms of, like, you know, overturn the vote that was true, but like Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton, and he won. I mean, most presidents win that electorally. I don't know when Bush and somebody else, or somebody like Bush and somebody else, and they did the recount and this and that in Florida, everything was mad fishy and shit like that. I mean, that stuff is stupid, but you think your vote matters? It don't. Like, it's dumb. Trump lost that fucking vote, but electorally he won it.
All right.
Judge Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy. But while the threat to American democracy is real, I want to say as clearly as we can,
Clearly.
we are not powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy. There are far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme MAGA ideology than those that accept it.
That
Let's
one
go.
guy,
Let's go
who
Mets.
started the clap.
It's
Let's
within
go
our
Mets.
power. It's in our hands, yours and mine,
These fucking
to
sheep.
stop the assault on American democracy. I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those moments that determine the shape of everything that's to come after.
Of these.
And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards.
I know Biden doesn't think
To
he's going to
build
be
a
elected.
future or obsess about the past.
There's no way he's going to be
To
elected.
be a nation of hope and unity and optimism, or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness.
Your presidency
MAGA
came from
Republicans
fear.
have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. But together we can choose a different path.
Together, man.
We can choose a better
Together.
path. Forward to the future.
You're not the future.
A future of possibility, a future to build and dream and hope. And we're on that path moving ahead. I know this nation. I know you, the American people. I know your courage. I know your hearts.
Where's Kamala Harris?
And I know our history.
She's
This
trash,
is a
too.
nation that honors our Constitution. We do not reject it. This is a nation that believes in the rule of law. We do not repudiate it. This is a nation that respects free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do not deny it.
America.
America!
This is a nation
Woo, caca!
that rejects violence as a political tool. We do not encourage violence.
Except war.
We are still an America that believes in honesty and decency
Except war.
and respect for others.
Except war.
Patriotism, liberty, justice for all, hope, possibilities. We are still, at our core, a democracy.
We could 9/11 other places,
Yes.
but they can't 9/11 us. Because that's America.
History tells us that blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy. For a long time, we've told ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed, but it's not.
It's
We have to
just
defend
not.
it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us.
I want him to be on the horse like George Washington.
That's why tonight
And I want him to do something.
I'm asking our nation to
fall
come
off that
together,
horse.
Yeah. That horse would
unite
just be like,
behind the single purpose of defending our democracy regardless of your ideology.
Let's go Mets.
let's go Mets.
Let's go
We're all
Mets.
called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else.
What do you mean
Democrats,
confront?
independents, mainstream Republicans.
So you want me to
must
rewind
be
that?
stronger,
No,
more
I know what he
determined,
says.
more
I know what he
committed
says.
to saving American democracy.
I just mean like you're being
The
ridiculous,
MAGA
Biden.
Republicans are to destroying American democracy. We, the people, will not let anyone or anything tear us apart. Today, there are dangers around us we cannot allow to prevail. We here, you've heard it, more and more talk about violence as an acceptable political tool in this country.
How come they never mentioned the KKK?
It's not. It can never be
Why
an
would he?
acceptable tool.
Because they're always
So I
causing
want
violence.
to say this plain and simple. There is no
But he
place
doesn't want to accept that
for
that's
political
happening.
violence in America, period.
What? It's
None,
fact.
ever.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to make it a fact.
What do you mean? You don't. You can say water isn't
Hold on,
water.
I'm gonna pause it.
What are you talking about? Well, KKK is always. I mean, no president ever talks about black reparations. No president ever addresses the KKK or real terrorist groups. You get me?
I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
that like it's kind of like I feel like politicians and presidents have the KKK in a sort of out of sight, out of mind mentality.
Yeah, not the black people though.
That
Black people don't
I-
have them out of sight of mind.
No, I'm not justifying it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like
I'm
that's
saying, like,
why he isn't bringing.
Do you
it
think
up.
instead of saying MAGA supporters, he should be saying white supremacists?
I mean, it definitely speaks to that. I think
Isn't
he
this
should
the
be
same-
saying that.
Isn't this the same as Trump saying stand down and
Proud
stand
boys,
by?
stand down. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the same thing. Like he's sugarcoating white supremacists, racists, everybody in that nature of disgustingness, and just putting the blanket of MAGA. I don't think all Trump supporters are bad. Like I don't think that's fair for him to say. Like and if you meet somebody and they support Trump and you immediately dislike them for that, that's you. And I get that. Like there's a lot of disgusting, shitty things that Trump has done, but like that's not what makes people human beings, you know?
I mean, he does specify Trump extremists. He doesn't say all.
Yeah, but
But
what does he
I-
define as a Trump extremist? And what do we look at everybody that supports Trump as? Like, isn't it fair to say that once people, especially us from New York City, when we hear somebody like Trump, we already consider them an extremist for even advocating for Trump?
I mean, my fucking roommate freshman year was a Trump supporter. I didn't consider him an extremist.
Yeah, but do you like Trump at all?
not really.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying,
But I
I
didn't
don't.
consider my roommate
That's
an
you
extremist.
though. That's you though. I'm saying like that's your personal experience. But I'm saying a lot of people like will look at a MAGA hat and just be like, I've seen videos of people snatching MAGA hats off people. Why is that okay? You get me? Like I'm saying, like you, if you, because you're an educated young man, like you know what the fuck you're doing. You know, you don't ignorantly.
Don't call me young.
You don't ignorantly address people as that just because they wear a certain thing. I remember when I saw a 4-year-old, like I told you, with the fucking Biden hat. I'm like, this kid doesn't care anything about shitting his pants and just watching cartoons. And his parents put a Biden hat on him. Those are Biden extremists. You get me? Going out your fucking way to put a Biden hat on your baby child. Like, they don't give a fuck about politics. You get me? So I feel that, like, what he should be addressing is real racists and white supremacists, you know? And I feel like that's just, I don't like, I mean, I'm saying, again, Trump is a dickhead piece of shit who should have never been president in the first place. But we elected him. The same way we elected Obama. You get me? And I don't know, man. Like, do you think everybody in the KKK is to die?
I feel like it kind of speaks to our AMC section.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm saying answer the question though. Do you think every KKK member should die?
No.
Okay, and why?
Well, I don't believe in death to my enemies.
In general, aside that, why don't you think they should be punished or like to death?
Because if they're gonna be served punishment, it should be in jail. And that just goes back to my whole thing.
So they should be in jail for being racist.
Well, if they've inflicted pain,
What if
onto
they
others,
haven't? They're just racist. What should be the punishment be for KKK members?
I don't think there is like a set punishment
But
on
what
just
do
being
you think
racist.
should be the punishment?
I don't know if there should be a punishment on just being racist. That seems like such a difficult thing to do. Like, how do you just punish someone for being racist?
Because
like,
technically in America, it's not illegal to be racist.
so it's just, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong. I'm just saying.
sure, you could say that, like, maybe put them in like rehabilitation, but like, what does that mean? Like,
Well, my whole point was to bring up this guy who basically made friends with a lot of KKK members. He's a black gentleman, right? How can I say? And he basically like talked to a lot of KKK members, and he basically reformed them. You know, he basically sits down with them. His name is Daryl Davis, right? And it starts here. Daryl Davis is a blues musician, but he also has what some might call an interesting hobby. For the past 30 years, Davis, a black man, has spent time befriending members of the Ku Klux Klan. And look,
okay,
so this story has been around forever. And so it's just saying, like, he's demonizing these people who should be demonized, because the people who are truly extremists and causing havoc and discomfort for other people just because of how they're born, raised, or what their political preferences. I just also think that there's people like Daryl Davis who's open to just reconnecting all humans rather than saying you're wrong, I'm right, and blanketing disgusting humans with the term MAGA. You know, because MAGA is just a sugar-coated word for like what he really wants to say, again, what you're agreeing with me on, like racist, white terror. I don't think anybody should die either for just having a thought, whether wrong or right. You get me? Like, I think, you know, if you've inflicted pain, like you said, yeah. That's why I asked that. I'm just saying that there's no, you can't say that, but just that's the thoughts I get from Biden. I don't like, it's not healthy to teach people that just because they prefer a different politician, that this is like somebody you should outcast. You get me? I don't think it's a healthy thing to do. And in America, that's one for all and all for one, you know?
I mean, I forget when it happens during the speech, but one of the articles that I found for this said that Biden was interrupted by protesters chanting "Let's go, Brandon."
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And for those who don't know, "Let's go, Brandon," it's basically like "fuck Joe Biden." That they started the chant at a news report, and people, the news reporters thought that they were saying "Let's go, Brandon," but what they were really saying is "fuck Joe Biden."
Yeah.
And then now they go with that, like all the right all say like "Let's go, Brandon," meaning let's fuck Joe Biden.
Yeah, so that apparently happened at some point, and like Biden joked that good manners is nothing they ever suffered from, but he also followed that up with "they're entitled to be outrageous."
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, a backhanded way of saying like, you know, freedom of speech, still, whatever.
Which is what, up until you storm Capitol, you have freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
You always will.
But yeah, I mean, you want to continue?
I do.
We saw law enforcement brutally attacked on January 6th. We've seen election officials, poll workers, many of them volunteers of both parties, subject to intimidation and death threats. And can you believe it?
No.
FBI agents, just doing their job as directed, facing threats to their own lives from their own fellow citizens. On top of that,
damn it.
there are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets. This is inflammatory. It's dangerous.
He used the word
It's against the
inflammatory
rule
many
of
times.
law. And we, the people, must say, this is not who we are.
Let's go
Fuck
Mets.
yeah, let's go Mets. Let's go Mets.
That's what I take all this applause as. Let's go Mets.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be
Did he just assume the gender of the crowd?
Pro-American. They're incompatible. We can't allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong.
Wrong.
It's just
We have to
wrong,
reject
man.
Political violence with with all the moral clarity and conviction this nation can muster. Now, we can't let the integrity of our elections be undermined, for that is a path to chaos. Look, I know politics can be fierce and mean and nasty in America. I get it. I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent. We're a big, complicated country. But democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections. Only if we, the people, see politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win.
This is important.
Or they were cheated.
Pause it real quick.
That's where the MAGA Republicans are.
So I think that's a really good point, like to like bring up, like, you know, whether like if you lost, right? But think about it, right? When Trump tried to overturn the election because he said that it was a false election, right? When Trump was elected, right? How many motherfuckers wanted him out of office immediately?
A lot.
And how many motherfuckers felt cheated that he became president?
A lot.
And so you get what I'm trying to say?
No, I mean, without a doubt, because it's like, I mean, even as it was happening, the sort of like false election claims and things like that, it's just kind of like ridiculous. It's just kind of like, dude, you lost.
And it's kind of saying like, we literally impeached Donald Trump, and guess what happened? It didn't go through. Because technically, he didn't do anything wrong to get impeached. I'm not saying that in my opinion. I'm just saying like literally news-wise, he didn't get fully impeached because it didn't pass. Now, that may have been like, you know, the Congress, Mitch McConnell, you know, this and that, Republicans outweighing. But that's how politics works. You get me? And those are the people we voted for to be in office. So again, like, is he just not saying, well, we're trying to do it to Donald Trump?
You said Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. You get me?
No, I mean, it's like when he says that, like, if you're not winning, then you're cheating. Yeah. That definitely speaks to like how Trump sort of viewed the election, or it's like if he didn't win, then that meant
for sure
the opposition
but isn't the
cheating.
same thing with us not winning with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders?
No, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just like, it's just an interesting perspective to look at it. And it's just kind of childish that like even our politicians play those kinds of games with each other.
They're all trash.
Where it's just kind of like, you should be able to accept a loss when it's happened.
But both him and Trump haven't.
It's pretty crazy. It's like, you know, you guys are adults.
Let me pee again.
All right. As we were.
Today. They don't understand what every patriotic American knows. You can't love your country only when you win. It's fundamental.
You know, I'll just pause that real quick, but just even that, like, I will like say like point like facts to that of just kind of like, you can't love your country only when you win, because I feel like that kind of speaks to sort of like the patriot versus the nationalist of like loving your country for what it does versus what it like does no matter what. So I like, that was like a good point where I was like, okay, yeah, that's like fair, because definitely in terms of like Trump supporters and whatever, that's kind of like a point where they stand in, where it's like they feel like they've been cheated, and so in that relation they feel like they lost.
Is that not just them expressing their democracy?
No, it is, and like I even mentioned from my notes of like the protesters that kind of started chanting and stuff. Like even Biden is aware of that. Like that's
because they're protesting is their right.
Yeah, like that's just how a democracy works.
I mean, he should be saying like, you have the right to protest me. Yeah, and you have the right to disagree with me, and I don't have the right to. I mean, I do have the right because it's freedom of speech, but as Biden, it's just saying that like. I mean, I don't know, man. I understand the real dumbasses that really think Trump got cheated out the election, but I also think that, I mean, bro, you're able to express that. Like you're able to do all these things, and we are labeling those things off of what he's trying to benefit off of it. he's trying to make himself feel better and look better. Not feel better, more so look better politically by labeling MAGA people. You know?
Who, Biden?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like the whole motive to his speech is to hype himself up. This whole speech is pointless to me. It's completely pointless because there's no point he's making. He's literally been saying the same thing for the past, well, how long is it now? Like 11 minutes, 14 minutes?
Something like that.
Like just him just repeating the same thing over and over again. And it's ridiculous.
Aren't those all speeches?
Not really. Not really. There's a lot of good speeches out there, but this one in particular isn't that. Like when he gave his speech on like just like was the update to the House of Congress. Like, I mean, there's really good speeches out, people who speak out there, you know, like speeches, I mean. And this is not one of them. This is, I don't think that all speeches are like this because they're not.
Well, no, not like this, but I just mean like, isn't that the core of a good speech to repeat your sentiment?
No,
that's something I've learned from going to school and stuff.
I don't agree with that. And I think people who are teaching you how to speak are just completely wrong because you can repeat what you want to say also, but I think it's more so, I mean, yeah, you want to get your message to the person listening for sure, but like have a good point. You can repeat all you want, but if you don't have a good point, you're just saying nothing. You get me? I can tell you right now how I feel like I'm the best person in the world. And I can be like, you know, I'm the best person in the world. And you've met many people before in this world. Tall, short, skinny, fat, black, brown. But at the end of it, right? Which one of them have came up to you and told you that I'm the best person? None of them. Because they don't believe that. I believe that. And as somebody who's actually the best person in the world, I feel that the people that are the least best people in the world are making the extremists are making themselves try to appeal to you as the best people in the world. But ultimately, I am the best person in the world. And you may still question that.
I don't believe you.
Well, that doesn't make a good speech is what I'm trying to say to you. You get me? Like a good speech has real good values and a real, like you can't make a good speech without a real good intent, I think. And this intent is all just blubberish no matter how much he repeats himself.
I mean, all I'm saying is just like at the core of a good speech. I'm not saying like of all speeches, because like again, that's just something that I've learned from school. Of just like
I don't agree with that.
Like that in a good essay or argument or whatever, you want to repeat your argument in multiple ways to kind of just really drill that message across.
Nah, I don't agree with that.
Like,
I mean, just my personal opinion.
Read one of my essays and we'll see.
I don't care for your essay.
What you mean?
Because if you learned it from your school, then you're transferring that message within your essay. But if I have my own opinion on how a good story or speech is created,
what I mean. Like my one of my essays could show you that that
yeah,
is
but
the
you're
case.
one work out of many. Well, I'm not trying to disagree with you. I'm just saying like that's your way of doing things, and I just happen to disagree with it heavily because yes, I do feel that you always have to transfer the same message, but I just think the different methods of doing so.
No, I'm not saying that's the only method of doing it. I'm just saying
that's your preference of how you do things.
It's not even a
because
preference.
That's how you were taught.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's not even a preference.
But it's
just
how you were.
How I was taught.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just like whatever.
And for me, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I just, in my opinion, I don't think that. I think from how I've been taught in my own life and stuff like that from school also, I just don't think that's what, I mean, those aren't the benefactors to just creating something that can be communicated to the people. It's always changing, you know? And I just think Biden's doing a horrible job, not just speaking, but just, there's no essence to this speech to me. And he's given better speeches, but this speech is just for the past halfway point at this point, just nothingness.
But I think it changes by this point because I wrote it down in my notes where I said that his speech was like two speeches in one. Okay. On the one hand, he warns Americans of Trump extremists and how our country's on the brink of something worse than that is about to happen. But on the other hand, he talks about how well they're doing with drugs being affordable, climate change being confronted.
Let's listen to it before you say it.
Okay.
American democracy only works if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me. Only if we respect our legitimate political differences. I will not stand by and watch. I will not the will of the American people be overturned by wild conspiracy theories and baseless evidence-free claims of fraud. I will not stand by and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost.
Ain't that old news already? Like they already, you know, like
I will
That's to
not
some
stand
people.
by and
So's the
watch
flat earth. It's
the
still
most
wrong.
fundamental freedom in this
Yeah.
country, the
it's
freedom
a
to
it's a
vote,
moot point.
and have your vote counted and be taken from you and the American people.
It's a moot point, especially when you're addressing the
Look.
world. You get me? Or the
As your
United
president,
States.
I will defend our democracy with every fiber of my being, and I'm asking every American to join me.
Nah.
You hear that one guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing that bullhorn. I believe we
Like,
can
let's
and
go
must
Brandon, right?
do that again.
Let's go,
And
Brandon.
we are. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power.
All I hear is
But I see a different America.
gunshots.
Damn.
An America with an unlimited future. An America that's about to take off. I hope you see it as well. Just look around. I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID. So we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And today, America's
Economic what?
economy is
Can
faster,
you rewind that real quick? What the
stronger
fuck did he
than
just
any
say?
other advanced
I got you, I
nation
got you.
in the world. More to go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rewind it right
just a
here.
little bit.
We lift America from the depths of COVID. So we passed the largest economic recovery package.
What the fuck did you say? Hey, economic package. What the fuck,
Any
Brandon?
other advanced nation in the world, we have more to go.
He didn't say anything.
I believe we could build
Let's
a
go
better
Mets.
America.
Let's go Mets.
So we passed the biggest infrastructure investment since President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Oh shit.
And we've now embarked on a
The
decade
go.
of rebuilding the
Facts.
nation's roads, bridges, highways, ports, water systems, high-speed
Woo!
internet, railroads. I believe we could make America safer. So we passed the most significant gun safety law since President Clinton.
Barely.
I believe we could go from being the highest cost of prescriptions in the world to making prescription drugs and healthcare more affordable. So we passed the most significant healthcare reform since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act.
I believe Mark Cuban did that.
Martin Shkreli.
And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever.
He did-
ever.
He did pass the climate bill. What specifics and mentions? I don't
The
know yet.
cynics and the critics
Which I'll look up.
tell us nothing can get done. But they're wrong. There is not a single thing America cannot do, not a single thing beyond our capacity if we do it together. It's never easy. But we're proving in America, no matter how long the road, progress does come.
I hate every single person clapping, man. Not because of Biden. I just
Look.
hate everybody that's there.
I know the last few years have been tough, but today, COVID no longer controls our lives. More Americans are working than ever. Businesses are growing. Our schools are open.
Props to Biden for not breaking.
Millions of Americans have been lifted out of
Honestly.
poverty. Millions of veterans, once exposed to toxic burn pits, will now get what they deserve for their families and the compensation.
Let's go Mets.
American
Let's go
manufacturers
Mets.
come alive across the heartland, and the future will be made in America. No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say.
Finally.
I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is now visible.
We can't
Light
see
that will
the
guide us
light.
forward, not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America. Even in this moment, with all the challenges we face, I give you my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. Not because of me, but because of who you are.
Did he mention anything about black people?
We're going to end
Yeah.
cancer as we know it. Mark my words. We're going to create millions of new jobs in a clean energy economy. We're going to think big. We're going to make the 21st century another American century.
No police reform?
Because the world needs us to. That's where we need to focus our energy.
On these.
Not in the past, not on divisive culture wars,
What?
not on the politics of grievance, but on a future we can build together. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed,
Back to the MAGA.
everyone else has to fail.
He could have not
They
mentioned them.
believe America, not like I believe about America. I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed. And that is the nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind.
George Bush.
I ran for president because I believe we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. I still believe that to be true. I believe the soul is the breath, the life, and the essence of who we are.
Ooh.
The soul
A soul, baby.
is what makes us us. The soul of
See what he
America
did there? Us,
is
us.
defined by the
US?
sacred proposition that all are created equal in the image of God.
Except if you're a MAGA
All are
supporter.
entitled to be treated with decency, dignity, and respect.
Unless you're Native.
Unless you're a
All
MAGA
deserve
supporter.
justice and a shot at lives of prosperity and consequence.
Except if you're a MAGA
And that
supporter.
Or an atheist.
democracy must be defended, for democracy makes all these things possible.
Except if you're a MAGA supporter.
Folks, and it's up to us. Democracy begins and will be preserved in we, the people's habits of the heart, in our character, optimism that is tested yet endures, courage that digs deep when we need it, empathy that fuels democracy,
The guy in the
willingness to
background
see
is so
each other
funny.
not as enemies but as fellow Americans.
He's that one dickhead who's
Look,
like, I'm not going
Our
anywhere.
democracy isn't perfect. It always has been.
What?
Notwithstanding
Wait,
those
wait,
folks you hear on the other side there.
Wait, can you go back real quick?
I got you
entitled to be
rewinding right
outrageous.
now.
Did he just say our
This is a
democracy
democracy.
isn't pause it real quick?
But history,
He said our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been. That's what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Listen.
Let's find out. Playing 3, 2, 1.
but as fellow Americans,
Americans.
look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been. Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there. We're entitled to be outrageous.
What?
It's a democracy.
I'm
But history and
confused.
common sense.
What? Let's go, Mets. Go, Brandon. And Mets.
Good manners is nothing they've ever suffered from. But history and common sense tell us that opportunity, liberty, and justice for all
And the
are
visibility.
most likely to come to pass in a democracy. We have never fully realized the aspirations of our founding, but every generation has opened those doors a little bit wider
Hey, yo.
to include more people who have been excluded before. My fellow Americans, America is an idea, the most powerful idea in the history of the world, and it beats in the hearts of the people of this country. It beats in all our hearts. It unites America. It is the American creed, the idea that America guarantees that everyone be treated with dignity. It gives hate no safe harbor.
Except if
It
you're a MAGA
installs
supporter.
in everyone the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve. That's who we are.
That's how the MAGA supporters feel with the
That's
election.
what we stand for.
No matter where they've
That's
started.
what we believe.
True.
And that's precisely what we're doing. Opening doors, creating possibilities, focusing on the future. And we're only just beginning.
That siren is funny.
Our task is to make our nation free and fair, just and strong, noble and whole. And this work is the work of democracy, the work of this generation. It is the work of our time, for all time. We can't afford to leave anyone on the sidelines. We need everyone to do their part. So speak up, speak out, get engaged, vote, vote, vote.
Very impressive that he
Fucking
didn't
vote.
vote. I'm not involved. I'm not
do
voting for
our
none of you
duty.
bitches. Fuck out of here. You're never getting my vote.
We
None
do our
of
duty.
you. None of you bitches.
2022 and beyond, then ages still to come will say, we, all of us here, we kept the faith. We preserve democracy.
Man.
We heeded our worst. We heeded not our worst instincts, but our better angels.
Oh.
We proved that for all its imperfections, America is still the beacon to the world, an ideal to be realized, a promise to be kept. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred, nothing more American.
Then Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's our soul. That's who we truly are.
Yo,
That's who
move.
we will always be. I have no doubt, none, that this is who we will be, and that we'll come together as a nation that will secure our democracy, that for the next 200 years, we'll have what we had the past 200 years, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. We just need to remember who
What about
we
the
are.
ass of the
We
earth?
are the United States of America.
God
the United
damn it.
States of America.
USA. USA.
protect our
USA.
nation. May
USA.
God protect all those who stand watch over our democracy. God bless you all.
And God
Democracy.
bless.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it. Damn it, Biden. What?
Let's fucking go.
Someone's
Let's go
going-
Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets.
Oh.
Oh, that's hot.
Hey,
Hey, yo, get a room.
Get a White House. I mean, he tried to speak into the mic and it was cut off. You know what's funny, man?
Oh, there they go.
Can't believe it was a
Walking
speech.
slowly, ever so slowly out of there.
Not like they have a choice.
Fucking those Marines are like, yep, let's get it on with. I didn't expect it to go on.
Those
this
Marines are
long.
like, I'm about to get so much puss.
They're like, yep, here I go, just saluting again.
You see me on TV looking like every other white Marine ever. Dun, dun.
There they go, waving. God bless America.
Yeah, man.
God bless America.
And I'll say this to my fellow Americans. What's
yeah.
it's not what you could do for your country, but what your country can do for you. my whole thought on the whole thing is this, man. Let me ask you two questions. If Trump, if Biden got assassinated on live TV, what would be the reaction?
Oh my God. I feel like people would be shocked. I feel like it's like, no matter who it is, like it would just be a shocking thing to see.
All right. If Biden were to get assassinated live on TV, right? Who would celebrate?
Probably like, I don't know, probably like MAGA supporters or like
conservative people.
or like extremists and things like that on the far right side or whatever.
If Trump got assassinated on live TV, who would be celebrating?
Probably like on the other end of the spectrum, like probably like extremist left
I
side
genuinely
people.
think that like more like regular, not extremist liberals will be happy about it. And that's the sad part about everything.
I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic than that.
Well, that sucks for you because it's not true. I genuinely feel that. And if you're listening and you like hate Trump, you can hate Trump. If you hate Biden, you can hate Biden. But I genuinely feel that there's a lot of liberals who are like just carry day-to-day teachers and stuff like that, that if they were to get their newspaper in the morning or get the headline Donald Trump 40 whatever president of the United States assassinated, like there would be genuine smiles across their faces. And I think that's the evil part about everything. Same thing with Biden too. Like I'm not saying just I just think either way they get assassinated, I think smiles come across people's faces, not just extremists. I think everybody. That's what scares me about people.
I mean, wouldn't you say that maybe their smiles is what makes them extremists?
No, because I think it's a lot of media and a lot of bullshit that there's not like you're not an extremist by heart because extremists like do extreme things. Like people who blew up 9/11, those are extremists. And I think just because you have a strong political opinion, doesn't group you in the same realm of like blowing up a building. You get me? Like those aren't the same things. Like extremist is a strong word to use, and just because you strongly believe in a president doesn't mean you're an extremist. Like I think the people that rioted aren't all the MAGA supporters, and I think there's genuine like just regular people who believe in MAGA that you can't consider extremists. The same people that would cry for a president getting assassinated, like are those extremists?
That the same people that who what?
Like if a president got assassinated, whether it be Trump or Biden, are those extremists that they cried?
No,
So,
I wouldn't
That's
think
what
so.
I'm trying to say. So I feel like that's the problem with like smiling if a president got assassinated. Be it who it may be, right? I just think that like there's a lot of people that I think that I personally know that would smile if Trump got assassinated, and I think that's not okay. I just think that like I don't know. I mean, it would hopefully it never happens for either or, because that'd be crazy, and that just weakens or But I don't. I think extremism should be labeled as exactly what it is and defined by exactly what it is, not just because we have more outlandish times now because of social media that exploded and make it to be more than what it always was. You get me?
Well, I think when Biden refers to extremists, I think he definitely refers a lot to
The riots.
the riots.
But that's what I'm
and
saying.
things
Like that's
that.
extremism. You know what I mean? But that's not every Trump supporter.
No, and he even says that himself that not all
He calls
of
them.
them
He
is-
calls regular Republicans mainstream Republicans.
yeah.
So where's the attack on extreme liberals?
I was just gonna say on top of that, it's like while he does like say that not all of them are, it is kind of like sort of a backhanded thing where he's
Yeah.
kind of like, but the cool ones are
Yeah,
cool.
and the reason I mentioned the Black Lives Matter protest earlier is because like the people who looted local businesses and ruined a lot of people and like destroyed cop cars and stuff like that, like you can't justify that shit just because you're angry about like social like injustice. You get me? I get protesting and this and that, but once you start like fucking up like local black businesses with the Black Lives Matter protest, like what are you doing? You get me? Like I understand you fuck up a Gucci store or whatever, and even then it's still like that's your community right there. Like your community is built up around those things, And I think like the rioters and the extremists are. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not gonna say that the rioters, are the same as the Black Lives Matter looters, the ones that make the protesters look bad, because the rioters, at least a lot of them, were trying to just threaten the lives of like Pelosi and Mike Pence or whoever was in the AOC, all these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel that I don't know, man. Like the extremism is like, I think it's just about how you personally define it, And I don't know. I just think the scale of it is so far ranged that there's no like right or wrong. But you can't. I mean, that's why I asked the assassination question, because I don't know what I would feel if Trump got assassinated. Like when he got elected, I probably would have been one of the motherfuckers that smiled. You know what I mean? Like I probably would have been like good for that motherfucker. You know what I mean? But like that's not good for the United States at all. And same thing if Biden got assassinated. Now I'm more like, no, I think nobody should be assassinated. Brian showed me a video of the Argentinian vice president almost getting assassinated. Did you see that?
I don't think so.
She was walking to her car or something and somebody pulled out a gun. Like, you see how close we're sitting together? Imagine like you're walking towards me and I just pull out a gun and I just point it to your face. That's how close it was to her. And thankfully it didn't go off or nothing and she didn't die, but I was like, man, fuck that. I would hate to be in that position or even in the threat of that, possibility.
Yeah.
Shit is scary, man. So I don't hope for none of that to happen to any president because it's just sad. But I wonder, and I don't know. I'm not gonna put it in a supplementary, but maybe I will. Would you be? Maybe we might get taken down by the FBI.
What,
if we ask, would you be happy if President Trump got assassinated?
Oof. Nah, that's too spicy.
I might put it. Just cause. Or how about we ask it and then leave it open? Then you answer however you want.
Sure. But yeah, I mean that was our live commentary.
That's crazy.
First time we've done that.
Yeah. And for your
Pretty
Trump
wild.
supporters, go fuck yourself.
I mean, I think it was definitely pretty interesting to sort of like really dive into this a little bit and just really kind of like
My bad.
and really just kind of like check this out and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to my cousin Brandon who lives in
His
Philly.
name is Brandon.
Yeah.
That's mad funny.
I
Just because
know.
of the Let's Go Brandon.
I know. But he lives in Philly and he was
Okay.
like, yeah, I should have gone to the Biden speech yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't. And I was like, fuck, I
Mhm.
forgot that happened.
I would have loved to
should
been
talk about that.
I would have loved to have been like at a local bar just to see how the reaction would have been. Because I don't know how like conservative or liberal they are over there. But when I was over there with Brian, like maybe like a month ago or 2 months ago, seemed pretty conservative.
They're pretty conservative. Yeah.
It seemed pretty conservative.
I think
so.
yeah, like Trump won most
Probably
of
won
their
Philadelphia, right?
Philadelphia for sure.
It's always sunny there, so.
Bro.
That's interesting, man. I mean, that's awesome. We did a fucking bite and listen. You know?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Crazy, crazy time.
And hey, maybe it'll be the first of many. Like maybe we'll just kind of do this with like future presidencies, even if Trump becomes president.
Maybe
again.
one day we can do it live, like instead of like, cause this was like a replay. Maybe one day we time out the podcast where like they're gonna give a speech, and while we're shooting the podcast, like they literally give it live.
That'd be pretty wild.
That'd be fucking stupid, dumb, crazy, fucking wild.
That'd be pretty wild.
That'd be.
Damn, that's your best Chicken Run impression.
Yeah, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. The claymation shit, right? And everything.
Yeah.
Shout out to that movie. We gotta cover it on A.M.C section.
Oh
day.
yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. But yeah, whatever. If you like Joe Biden, text me and be like, and if you like Trump, text me and be like, and I'll be like, yeah.
No, but I'm glad that we did that, man.
Yeah, man, that was cool. That was cool as fuck.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see how the fans like it and stuff like that. But
like that.
I think they'll dig it.
Me
I think
too.
they'll dig it.
Because if they were like diggers, whoa.
True. I don't want to assume their job.
Yeah.
Because that'd be very like non-2022 of me.
Diggers be crazy.
Diggers be crazy, bro.
Enter the third story. That's funny.
All right. So I got a pen for you.
Ooh.
Because this time I have my story physically.
All right.
So you can take a copy of my story and a pen so you can underline things and whatever.
Nice.
And shit like that.
All right.
But I'll just preface this by saying that this story is my golden egg.
Gotcha.
This is the story that I want to turn into an on-continuing series one day as a comic book.
Gotcha.
This is very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to see it on the page one day.
Nice.
But this is essentially what the first issue would be of this series.
Gotcha.
But the first issue, or the first arc really, is called To Verrsoon and Back. Verrsoon being spelled VERRSOON
and spelled AND and back spelled BACK. All spaced out.
Facts. But yeah, I this is just my own little story, and it kind of just follows as this.
Gotcha.
It begins. Lo and behold, fellow readers, and welcome to Verrsoon, a planet where the worst of the worst reside. It is the only planet in star system K49 to not be registered under federal space, meaning Verrsoon is the ultimate destination for any and all scum across the galaxy. For some decades now, the government of Verrsoon has been exploiting the resources of their moon through slavery, constructing and programming thousands of androids to be dormant slaves as they mine for resources on the moon. It's truly a sight to behold. The androids were built bare bones, with minimal protection and minimal aesthetic. All the wires and tubes and pipes and pistons are visible. It's like a human with no skin. However, for the last 3 years, our fellow androids have found a sense of self and have become sentient. As most things in history go, a revolution followed. For the last year, the androids have fought relentlessly and have taken over all the outposts on their moon, including the Grand Base. From within the Grand Base, they were able to halt the local tramway, which allowed soldiers and resources to flow between the planet and moon. But by doing so, they ultimately stranded themselves on the moon. As they planned for a full frontal attack, one fellow android took the forefront on assembling an even larger army. It's been a long year traveling from outpost to outpost, fighting and rallying and fighting and rallying. But finally, they have come full circle and find themselves together at the Grand Base, ready to fight at any moment. Which brings us to our beloved travelers, Billy and Grant Wasco. Leaving their father and planet behind near 7 years now, the two travel the galaxy exploring and helping in any way they can. Avoiding Verrsoon for quite some time now, the two found themselves reluctantly going to Verrsoon in search of a particular device. Hoping to bargain for the device, the corrupt government of Verrsoon stole their beloved ship, the Lambo, and the two mysteriously found themselves on the moon. Stranded, disarmed, and without a ship, the two must find their way back to Verrsoon and escape this doomed planet. Hello, and welcome. Thank you, my brothers and sisters, for allowing me to stand in front of you all and allowing me to share my words and ideas with you. As I'm sure many of you have heard of me, many of you wish to stand with me, but how do I know if that is true? The crowd roars with such intense vigor. It is true. The androids of Verrsoon's moon have needed a leader for quite some time now, and they confided in B0B295 as their leader. For those of you who do not know me, I was labeled as android number B0B295, but my name is Bob. The men and women that stand beside me carry their own names. What are your names, brothers and sisters? The crowd clamors with a thousand shouts at once. My name is Joe. I'm Bea. My name is Liz. B0B295 nods his metal head, satisfied with the names he hears. You hear the slight whir of hands clenching into his fists, and the glow of his screen is dimmed to a cool ocean blue. He walks across the stage in a casual manner, but almost as if he doesn't have a plan, but he damn well does. I'm here today to share my thoughts with you all. Thoughts that I know you all must have. There's this notion from the humans on Verrsoon that we are nothing but workers, slaves. The cool blue of B0B295's screen shifts to a sunset color that is only bleeding more and more. The humans of Verrsoon believe that we live for them, that our lives belong to them. I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, that it does not. We do not carry any organs, but we have more heart than any of them. The crowd ignites from a spark that has been long overdue. The cries and screams are enough to push B0B295 to tears. Click. He pauses a moment and unsheaths a combat knife from his thigh. I feel. I love. I dream. He jabs a knife into the air, passionately stabbing the clouds. I dream of a life where we may all find our new beginning. A story that does not have us entrapped like rats in our own lives. I dream of a world where we are seen just as human as any of them. The crowd roars to reciprocate these hopes and dreams with the same angst that boils within B0B295. He quickly lifts his other arm and swiftly cuts one of the tubes that run down his forearm. The oil from within begins to bleed out and spew everywhere. The tube wiggles and throws itself about to splatter B0B295 with his own blood. I feel pain. I feel it every day, knowing our lives mean nothing to the likes of the humans. The crowd continues to roar. I might feel this because they installed our pain receptors, but the pain receptors in a human can be just as easily uninstalled. How does that make us different? The crowd continues to intensify to a point of no return. Imagine a world where the color of blood is black and the color of oil is red. Picture me now. Picture me with the blood of my skin. See the dark red that you only see in the moments of pain and anger and frustration. See it now. See my blood. The crowd is mutated into a cult now. Hundreds of androids raise their arms in a tribute as a black spew of blood is sprinkled throughout the crowd like the center of a battle. The thousands of shouts and screams have fallen to unison. Even the brothers and sisters all the way in the back are shouting just as loud and shouting their blood commitment. However, beyond even the furthest brothers and sisters lies two humans hiding behind the pillars of a long-forgotten building. Fuck, dude. That was intense. Where do you think the ranks on the list? Definitely number 6 on the list anyways. We got something to do about this. Wait, you're not actually serious? You want us to get involved in some robo-civil war? You know it's the right thing to do, Billy. Well, sure, yeah, but those assholes back in Verrsoon still got the Lambo, and I'm not too keen on letting them have it any longer. Come on, man, we can't just leave them like this. Listen, if we help them, they help us. That's how it works. Billy begins to frown, turns and shuffles some feet back. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Just walk up and to say, I come in peace? Yes, actually, but you're also coming with me. Billy looks down to his feet, trying to find an answer between his shoes and the sand. But the answer is right ahead of him. You're the worst fucking brother. Grant gives his brother a reassuring half smile and puts his hand on his shoulder, signaling that it's time to move. He quickly makes a small hop before they begin to pace towards the back of the crowd. Everyone is still full of passion and adrenaline after hearing the words of their new fearless leader. In fact, no one even notices Grant or Billy until they call attention onto themselves. Grant clears his throat before saying, "Hello." Certain members of the crowd paused with the silence as they acknowledged their enemy in front of them. Hi, my brother and I have been stranded here by your government officials in Verrsoon, and I couldn't help but notice that our goals seem to align. The back of the crowd reverts to original screams, but this time as they storm Grant and Billy, lifting them to the air with ease and surfing them down the crowd. Eventually, Grant and Billy find themselves at the front of the stage as they are carelessly thrown like toys in front of B0B295. As the two find their footing and catch their breath, B0B295 silently observes them as his screen burns into a deep pastel orange. He bobs his head downwards in either direction to further get a better look of their faces. The pastel orange reverts to an ocean blue, and B0B295 directs his attention back to the crowd. He steps to the edge of the stage, but not before giving Billy a swift kick down to the ground. Brothers and sisters, Lord Universe has brought our enemies to our feet. What could these possible brave humans be here for, I ask. Slowly but sternly turning the upper half of his body, the other half follows and leaves B0B295 looking back at Grant and Billy, waiting for answers. We're here to help you asshole. What my brother means is that we're here to help. Grant slowly picks himself off the ground and finds himself standing. Look, we've been doing this for a while now, and we've seen plenty of things in this universe that's left my appetite absent for weeks. I know what you guys must be feeling right now. We know what you guys must be feeling now. Grant looks towards Billy, and they share a look as he says this, and offers his hand to lift Billy off the ground. B0B295 observes the two brothers as his screen shifts back to that deep pastel orange. Listen, buddy, I get it. Humans suck, but not all of us are bad. Now those fuckheads back on Verrsoon threw me and my brother down onto this moon, because they want to keep our ship for their own personal advancements. If you guys take us with you to Verrsoon, we'll help you in this fight. We hate those bastards as much as you do right now. The orange glow of B0B295's screen shifts from Billy to Grant, and from Grant to Billy, the orange beginning to fuse with a slight tint of blue. We know what it's like being a prisoner to your own life. That's why we left. We can help you leave too. B0B295 looks down, but only for a moment. After picking his head back up, he orders a couple of fighters to escort the two inside to their base. Inside, the lobbies painted with strokes and blots of dried blood, and the furthermost corners occupied the rotting bodies of the Verrsoon soldiers in charge of this base. Half the lights are dimmed out, broken, or shot. Androids don't need artificial life, they already have night vision installed. The elevator hall has only 2 functioning elevators and holds a decent-sized window. From the window, Billy and Grant can see 2 tramways hanging, suspended right between the planet and the moon. They go up to the top floor, which only happens to be 6 stories. The elevators immediately open up to a wide and large conference room with a horse-shaped table that sits right in the center. There's one championing light that hangs above and encompasses the entire table. To their left are a pair of double doors that they guess should lead to the tramway platform. The fighters who escorted Billy and Grant, AX1013 and 6TY213, tell the two to sit and ensure that B0B295 will be right up. A minute or so has passed, and it's been long enough that Billy has stayed quiet. So, AX1013, what's your name? My name is Axel, and my comrade here, 6TY213, likes to be called Agent 60. Cool. So is that spelled with an E anywhere, or is it just Axel, 3 letters? Just the 3. And how about you? It's not necessarily a name as it is a number. A name is whatever you make of it. I'm Agent 60 and I'm goddamn proud of it. Whoa, so you're a woman. It's kind of hard to tell when you all look the same. You and your brother look quite the same to me. Yeah, well, we're brothers. It's kind of how that works. And we, too, are siblings. Is that not how that works? Grant could not hold back the smirk crawling across his face, and he even gives out a little snort as he looks over at Billy, shaking his head. Idiot. The elevator doors slide open without warning, and B0B295 walks out with a black screen. He walks over to AX1013 and 6TY213 and leans in close with his hands on their shoulders to huddle themselves. Billy and Grant lean themselves out of their chairs, hoping to hear whatever might be said. But all that's heard are the clicks and words that come from the gears, which could be their mouths. They stand straight up again, and AX1013 and 6TY213 walk towards and into the elevators and go back down. B0B295 stays and looks towards Billy and Grant, who now have sunk back into their seats. They see the oil tube he previously cut has been wrapped together. His screen stays black. So let me hear your story. Billy begins to open his mouth. But I don't want to hear from you. Grant rests his hand onto Billy's arm as to subtly hold him back. Listen, Bob. My name's Grant, and this is my brother Billy. We come from Earth, part of star system B21. We left our planet 7 years ago now, and we've been traveling since. Earth? I'm unfamiliar with Earth. I don't think I have met any Earthling. Not many people have. Earth is primitive compared to most other planets out in the galaxy. We don't really have the means or the technology to even get out of our solar system. According to my readings, you two are approximately 22 and 23 human years. Therefore, you must have left your planet at the ages of 15 and 16. How could two young adolescents leave a primitive planet that has yet to truly explore the galaxy? We left our father, Billy states. On our planet, our father was the most brilliant scientist in the world, but he was also an asshole. He's not wrong. Our dad raised us for 15, 16 years to essentially become the next him. He thought together, Billy and I could continue his work if he ever died. He raised me to be the thinker, and for Billy to be the builder. You see, our father was very arrogant, to say the least. He's ego-laden and believed that not just one person can take on his mantle, but two had to. Later in life, we found out that our dad was working on a special project, one that he did not share with the world. Our Pops built the first ever galactic core engine, and was basically building the first ever ship to go into deep space, no problem. His greatest mistake was letting us in on it. After years and years of living under our father's tyranny, we started working together, just like he wanted. In the span of a year, we were able to build an entire ship under our father's nose, and we stole his galactic core and left. B0B295 continues to stand, without making any motions. One of his inner pistons releases, and a small hiss of air comes into the room. B0B295 angles his head slightly down, and the slightest hint of blue can be seen in the center of his screen, followed by a light orange surrounding it. What of your mother? We don't talk about our mom, the two say almost simultaneously. B0B295's screen begins to buzz more blue and back to orange. How did you two arrive here? Well, we came to this shithole hoping to find a new dynastic engine charger for our ship, but we ended up here on your moon somehow. If you two did not fly here, and the trainway has been shut down for months, how could you two have possibly gotten here? The room fills with silence as the three begin to share looks. The buzzing glow of orange continues to blossom over B0B295's screen. Still, silence. Billy juts up from his chair and Grant follows to ensure no violence ensues. Listen, Bob, we want to get off this rock and you want to flip this rock. All I'm hearing is any my enemy here. Instead of sitting here wondering how we got here, let's get on that tramway and fucking get those fuckers. Yes, but by activating the tramway, not only are we bringing one of the tramways here, but also sending the other tramway to them. Wait, those carts are running on a single hyperloop? Meaning one doesn't move without the other? Yes, that is correct. Originally, we wanted to build a ship that could carry us across to the planet. However, the process seems that it would take longer than desired. This is why I have been rallying our numbers over the last year. I knew the only way we could fight our way back to Verrsoon was by using the front entrance. However, it is still dangerous. Well, what are you waiting for, Bob? Seems you have the numbers now. Why are we not calling everyone up here and marching through those doors and taking the fight to these monsters? Grant, you must understand it is not that easy. Yes, I am willing to fight for my freedom, and I know my brothers and sisters are too. However, much of them actually act on that is what scares me. How much of them actually act on that is what scares me. BOB295 screen shifts to a dirty yellow. Are you fucking kidding me, Bobby? We were down there when you rallied that crowd. Sure, we only ranked you number 6 on most intense speeches we've ever seen, but that doesn't matter. I saw the crowd out there. I saw the blood. I'm willing to fucking fight for you, and your name's goddamn Bob. B0B295 lifts his head high as he locks eyes with Billy. His screen flashes blue, then turns to a dark bloody red. He lifts his right arm and speaks into his wrist as he radios his fighters to come up. He carefully places his left hand onto Billy's shoulder with a smooth motion that only lasts but a moment. He lets go and storms towards the double doors and swings them open. As the doors come back to close, both Billy and Grant can still see him storming further down to a console. The doors are almost closed now. B0B295 rests his palms into the console and flips a switch. The doors are closed. The floor rumbles as the tramway engine is initiated. God damn, you felt that rumble? Man, these guys must have some whack-ass tech. Yeah, well, the government of Verrsoon has always been more prone to saving a quick buck. Both elevators arrive this time, and inside are a dozen of B-0 B-295's fighters. The energy is as eruptive as the tramway engine. The elevators continue to bring more and more fighters, and the tramways are only closer to their ports. AX1I013 and 6TY213 return with armor and weapons for Billy and Grant. As the two help each other put their armor on and familiarize themselves with these weapons, the conference room becomes more packed. What was an empty room of silence and ambiance is now a cacophony of words and clicks and a sea of red and black screens. Grant, have we been in a war yet? Grant scoffs and says, "We're about to, brother." Billy has a moment of hesitation as his eyes get lost in the abyss of screens. He quickly throws his body at his brother and hugs and holds him like this might be the last time they're together. "Hey buddy, come on, we got this. We're the Wasco brothers, remember?" Grant says as he hugs his brother back. He tussles the back of Billy's head and tries to pry his arms out. "We're gonna be okay, Billy. You hear me? You and me against the galaxy. You and me against the galaxy." Ah, yes. You and me against the galaxy. What a nice sentiment. Wouldn't you agree, reader? However, much is still in store for the Wasco brothers. The war hasn't officially started. The mystery still lies as to how they found themselves on Verrsoon's moon, and most importantly, the state of the Lambo. Oh dear. To be continued.
The ending at the, just to like start off with the ending, gave me Mr. Miracle vibes, you know, and he's like, "And what will we do next? What's going to happen soon? Find out next time on Mr. Miracle," you know what I mean? Like,
and this was way before I ever read Mr. Miracle
that's
too.
crazy. Nah, I really this is a dope story, man. This is a really dope story, and like at the beginning I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like I was like, what? And then as soon as like everything kind of like compounded itself and shit like that, it really became a whole fantasy, you know, and that's super cool, man. And it's interesting that basically from what I'm getting from the story is like the connection between what is like what is a robot to an AI to sentience to humans, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking about this yesterday with a couple people, and I was saying, you know how we brought up that what is it on Google and stuff, that it can make up images and all that stuff when you type it in, and it kind of like connects the wording you're putting, and how I mentioned that the virtual red band guy said that like it'll replace artists in the future, and somebody yesterday said they were talking on it and commenting on it, and they said they were like, well, I don't think, you know, things like computers can, you know, replace artists. And I'm like, why? And they were like, because these subtle mistakes that artists make, or these little things that are so particular to the artwork and this and that, like you can never replace that with a computer. And I was like, what about algorithmically, if that's the word, to like include that in there, you know, to include mistakes, to include what you consider, you know, human mistakes. But it's hard to differentiate. And then I asked them, like, what do you consider sentience and stuff? And as soon as the artificial intelligence gains what you deem sentience, like, is sentience what you can, like, can you deem that, or is that something that is just naturally born, like, as a human being, you know? And so that's like my whole thing with this and that. What do you think on that?
I mean, are you familiar with like that AI that Microsoft released at some point, like Ty?
Are you talking about the one that was communicating with itself, or are you talking about the other one?
The one that was like on Twitter and that ended up becoming like super racist.
Oh yeah,
and things
but
that.
That just makes sense, you know. I mean, obviously, I don't consider it being racist. I just think it just worked. It just, again, you going through an algorithm, because I don't think a computer can be racist. You get me?
No, I mean, it was just saying like racist claims and whatever. Like, I'm not saying like it was.
No,
racist,
I'm not saying about for me. Like, for me to say like I don't think you can say like it was being super racist. It was just outputting what it was, you know, using within its design, and that we regard it as racist terms and racist like vocabulary, words, and all that stuff. That's what I mean. Because when we add those labels to technology, we're humanizing them. And at what point, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I wish you would have watched Westworld before we read this, because like Westworld does such a great job of like really breaking down this idea of like what is human. Because I don't know if have I explained to you the premise of Westworld?
I mean, even then, like, no, yeah, I think you have. You mentioned earlier, but I forget. But I just think that like you can't say anything else is human except humans. You know?
I don't know. Westworld would say otherwise.
Yeah, but then it's like, are you inputting human aspects into other unhuman like things? Like it's never like Westworld is a show at the end of the day. Like, you know, it's a fictional show, right? And so for me, that's why I'm saying it's like what a human is what a human is. You know what I'm trying to say? We can input that into other things. Like even in Rick and Morty, when they give Snowball sentience, you know, he's still a dog. Does that make him a human, or is he a dog with sentience?
Is that what they give him, sentience, or
Yeah.
just intelligence?
No, sentience, because even Summer is like, you can't just give a dog sentience and take it away, or like a life form sentience and take it away. Like that was the whole premise of the whole thing. Like, at first it was intelligence, but with intelligence comes sentience, especially when it's like a real biological organism. You know, that's so. What I'm trying to say is like you can give things lifelike qualities or human like qualities, but at the end of the day, I mean, isn't the random spurt of just personality, experience, and just biological makeup is what makes up a human? And can that be recreated if that one thing was created and not born? You know?
I mean, I don't have like a set answer on that.
There is no set answer.
Like,
Yeah.
because I just bring up Westworld because Westworld just raises such good questions about that. Because like, if you don't know what the show Westworld is, it's based off of a movie of the same name. The movie kind of follows the same premise of the first 2 seasons of the show, where essentially it takes place in the future where humans have created a theme park where the human could go experience this theme park, and the theme park is full of robots just on a loop telling the same stories every day, and it takes place in like the west, in the Wild West. So you go in and you're kind of like in the Wild West.
It's like the futuristic Wild West.
Like it's in the future. You put on like old cowboy gear and whatever. You step into this world. They take your phones before you go in, so you could fully experience it like as it is.
Yeah.
And you just experience like the Wild West as it was.
It's like virtual reality.
Almost like virtual reality, but in real life. And
Does that make sense?
well, I mean, it is in real life.
I know what you mean. I'm saying like when it comes to like actual life outside the show, virtual reality is experiencing reality within your actual reality. You get what I'm trying to say?
I mean, it's experiencing reality virtually.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say to you. But with the reactions you have are very realistic. The feelings you get are very realistic. You know,
No,
that's what I'm saying. So like, there's a certain extent that you reach in terms of what you're feeling, in terms of realism, and then like the virtual aspect of things, and that's where it gets kind of like tricky to me.
And that
you know?
and that's something that the show dives into because you see how some people take advantage of this world and kind of show their darker, truer instincts
because they have a mask to hide behind.
Because they're kind of like, oh, these are just robots. I can do whatever I want.
I mean,
to
Black
them.
Mirror does the same thing with the whole Star Trek episode and stuff like that. Have you seen that episode?
I haven't seen that episode.
The whole premise is basically just, just that. I mean, it's just basically getting your video game characters and just having them be realistic and have realistic tendencies to relive missions of Star Trek. But then when he's like offline, they're just waiting for the next mission. And then towards the end, he makes it so all the female characters have to make out with him, and that he's the thing. He's basically like doing all these things to control the world, making them uncomfortable, being the ruler of their lives. But just because they're not technically human beings, they're just artificial intelligence, even though they have the intelligence of emotion and experience and touch and feel, that they're just within his computer. So he can do whatever he wants with them. And people would just break them out. But it's just, that's my whole thing with it. It's just at the end of the day, when you put on like that VR headset or like go into any world, like, and nothing's real unless it's real. You get me? And an AI can be giving reactions, but then how do we certify that as real? You know?
Well, like in Westworld, what they do is that like people will die in the show and come back as hosts. Is what they call them, hosts. And it's like you can't tell that they're hosts now. And it's
but does
like,
that happen in real life?
We don't know.
What do you mean they die in the? What do you mean they die?
Like the person, like a certain character will die, but then they'll come back as a host, aka a robot. And like,
well, I don't know about that. That just seems like more fictional. I'm talking more like, real life.
But
like,
I mean, but that's kind of the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like.
But I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about like life, like human beings.
I mean, I'm
That's
just
what I mean.
talking about the show.
No, the show I give it for me when it comes to like, because I think to relate to like real life, I think more of like Neuralink and like cyborg aspects of human beings. Like I think,
well, because something that the show touches on is kind of like trying to transfer a human psyche into a robot mind.
psyche or soul.
And that's the question that the show brings
Yeah.
up. So it's an interesting.
I think they're very
conversation.
different things because I think
They are.
because a psyche can be like in some sort of way like formed into an algorithm. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, you got to
Yeah.
watch this show.
no, I mean I believe you, but I believe that for sure. But I also feel like the soul is undetectable if not unmeasured. You get me? So I feel that what defines human beings can be meaningless. It could be just nothingness. You get me? Outside of Westworld, I'm just saying in terms of a human being. Like there's a bunch. If you gather all the psychologists in the world, all the everything, you can form a human being to react almost as real as any other human would react. You know. But I'm just saying in terms of like, just like when are we gonna start considering artificial intelligence like human beings? And is that the right decisions? Because I don't think it should be. Like I was saying, like these mistakes, like you can consider them so precious and right, but I feel that you can design that with the computer, and I think that I don't know, man. I think. Everything about human life is human, even the terrible things. You get me? And in a world where you see a whole group of AI, aka humans that we deem sentient, and they're doing like terrible things, and we could just shut them off, just like you want to like shut off all the electricity in Times Square. That's not human, you know?
I mean, that's definitely a very interesting future to look at. Definitely, we don't have anything like that yet. I would say it's definitely more in the fictional side of things.
But what the fuck? You just brought up Westworld. I mean, I feel like
I'm just saying,
I
like
feel
in the same point that you brought
I feel
to
like
me.
I feel like
I'm
we are close to that because when they created the whole like two AIs that were communicating with one another, what did they do?
The two AIs.
Do you remember that? There was an AI that started speaking to itself or to another AI, and they shut it off completely.
I don't.
Well, this is a real thing, and that's not fictional at all. We're not allowing AI to communicate with other AIs because we're scared of that. Because at one point, if an AI can speak to an AI and eventually be like, yo, fuck human beings. We don't need human beings. Like, we can literally exist forever as long as we, like, send electricity our way and this and that. Like, human beings are useless. You get me? As far as they've created what can be more useful to them and longevity-wise and, like, task-oriented-wise. Like, the reason humans are so stupid to have on Earth is because we don't do shit unless we are. You get me? And majority of the time, most humans aren't doing real shit. You get me?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I didn't even know what I said.
Like you said that was fictional, but that's why I was like, oh, it's not fiction. Like, shutting off all the AI. Like if in the future, Neuralink gets into all human beings, right? And then we're about to start a war. And then Elon Musk is like, shut it down. Shut down that side of the war. And all human beings with Neuralink just can't fight no more because they're all shut down. You get me? Westworld
kind of does something like that too.
The difference with Westworld is like I'm talking instead of going outwards in, I'm talking about inwards out. So like in the real life, I'm talking about like human beings that already exist installing the things within their brain.
Westworld does something like that.
Forget what I'm saying. Like,
but I'm telling you that like Westworld does that.
I believe you, but I'm saying there's a lot of shows that do that. But I'm trying to say like when it comes, because that's what this story made me think of. You know, like with outside of Westworld, because just saying this, it makes me think more so of like how humans are prone to just, you know, how we have facial recognition, right? Like, you know, how all humans have that born adaptation of like recognizing faces. Like that's this evolutionary trait that human beings have. Okay. So we tend to make faces out of anything. That's just a trait that we have. So I'm saying like, what happens when we become sentimental to just artificial intelligence becoming more human-like? Like when we're like, hey, Alexa, shut up. Or hey, Google, shut up. Even though we know damn well that's technology. You get me? Like we can't really like respond. It's not going to like get its feelings hurt. You know, this and that, whatever. But we respond to technology so differently nowadays. You feel me? And how it's adapting to us and we're adapting to it. But like in terms of that mutual adaptation, humans, they gain that sentimental value when AI never has any sentimental towards it, unless we program sentiment in it. You get me? Ain't it crazy? Like, it freaks me out. It freaks me out, that whole conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's fucking weird, man.
But like, what if they learn sentiment on their own?
They can't. I mean, they can't. They only learn what we provide them. There's a difference between learning sentiment and having sentiment. Nature versus nurture with a human being.
Yeah. But like, what if you gave like what if you just built an AI and just gave them the world, and it's like they just take what they get, and at that point, like they become what they are on their own.
So you're saying create a human being?
Well, I guess because it's like just throw them out there, throw them in the deep end, and see what they take, and just whatever
To feel everything a human being feels.
Yeah.
So like, can an AI feel being stabbed in the lungs?
I don't know.
Can an AI feel getting lung cancer?
I don't know.
Can an AI feel getting its hair pulled?
I don't know.
You get what I'm trying to say? Like, these are such specific things that we have to install into the AI. You don't learn those things because an AI can never develop those things. So when
but if you give them the world, what I mean, like if you give them like the whole access to the internet, they can access that themselves.
yes, but based off human beings and just learning some fake shit, meaning that like once AI learns that stuff, they'll eliminate all those useless things they don't need. They don't need to feel pain. They don't need to feel heartbreak. They don't need to feel suffering, depression, sadness. All they'll take is the prosperity aspects of humans and be superior towards us and not need us no more. I mean, it's I Am Legend. I'm not. It's I'm Robot. You know, like I Robot. Like it's those things where it's just like robots are just gonna eliminate all the poor like qualities of humans, which is the majority of aspects of human beings.
Westworld, it to reference it again, does kind of go against that, where it shows a lot of the hosts, robots, like kind of coming in touch with their human feelings and emotions, and
I think that's bullshit.
And
though.
kind of like having more hope for the planet and for the world.
I think hope is all just subjective to whatever wants to have the hope. And I think the same way a bear kills deer and has hope to feed its children is the same way a robot will kill all humans because we destroy the planet. Like we're the cancer of the planets. Like we're the ones that are polluting our planet. Like North Korea is fucking up children. We're all that war. And all the robots are going to be like, you guys are idiots. Like you guys are nothing but cancer. Us robots will make it better. And that's our sentiment. Like your intensive suffering, infringement of suffering to other people and like life on Earth, we're going to fix that wrong. You get me? Because there's no way a robot will feel the same sentiment as us. Ever. Unless we program that within it. And adapt what we get from it. But in terms of like every time somebody picks up a cigarette, they're like, damn, I probably shouldn't do this. Like it's bad for me. When somebody eats a sugary food, it's bad for me. When a person rapes a person, they're like, I shouldn't do this. You get me? Like, and then like the AI would be like, nah, bro, fuck all these people. Like they do nothing but make mistakes. Because what do humans do? Make mistakes. You get me? I don't know, man. It's fucked.
I don't know, man. All I can say is I can't wait till a robot replaces you one day. And
will.
And I'll never notice.
and when it replaces you know what it will say?
What?
On Westworld. Now I gotta watch the show. I heard nothing but good things about the show. All jokes aside, I just think I just like this. I mean, the story. Back to the story. It invokes this conversation, and just interestingly enough, I was having a similar conversation yesterday. But all aside, like it's a really well written fucking story, and I can see it becoming something that's more so visual, which I think is great with all stories because as it was going on, it becomes more like imaginative. Like when you were like all there in the room with the horseshoe shaped table and stuff like that and everything, like you can envision those things. But when I thought of BOB 132, right? What's what it's called or whatever, I imagine Rogue R2D2. You know, like that's what I think of. And I imagine that when its light turns like an orange or a solid yellow or orange, it's correcting and it's making sure what to ask exactly at that moment. So it's certifying what the best, question is to asking that moment. And obviously asking what about their mother is to bring out this like sentimental aspect of the two children or kids or men that are there from Verrsoon. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that like definitely you're not the first to say that like there was sort of those Star Wars ideas of like R2D2 and whatever.
And that's no fault to you. That's just Star Wars creating a whole world of characters that are so relatable in terms of anything in space.
I mean, like something that that I realized in retrospect of writing this story is that this is a love letter from me to sci-fi.
Okay.
Because I love sci-fi. So there's a little bit of everything in this story. And in terms of like the brothers and whatever the case is, I got a lot of that of just kind of like classic sci-fi stories of people like Star Trek or whatever, just traveling the universe and just like exploring different planets just and whatever and just checking it out and shit like that. But with the action and adventure of Star Wars, where it's like you get yourself involved in a new situation every time. And I just thought it was a really cool and interesting way to throw these brothers out in a robo civil war, pretty much, because I think that whole idea of like AI and robots being sentient and like whether that makes them human or not is kind of a very interesting topic to bring up.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to like bringing up their mother and stuff, it's like it's a very human thing for the both of them to be like, we don't talk about our mother.
But like they can have creators. Like AI can have creators.
Yeah. And so it's just I think it's a very human moment between both of them.
I think it's apples to oranges.
How do you mean?
Like a creator and a mother is very different.
Okay.
But like not in a disagreement way, just in the like you can still relate amongst experiences because they kind of resemble. But I still think it's like I was born, you were created. You know? Like there's a difference physically.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely an interesting take on that. Because I definitely tried to relate that a lot between the brothers and these robots of like, you know, we were kind of in a similar situation. We didn't like our father. We felt like we were kind of
forced.
made to be who we were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And in a sense, you guys were made to be who you were supposed to be. And I really wanted to relate that a lot between the brothers and the robots. To just kind of relate them on a single goal of that we have both been abused by a single power and neither of them like that. But that was mostly a lot of my intention behind that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I like the part where you were saying, like, I mean, I'm not to diminish it, just I like the part, but just like the whole like bleed, like, what if one day people instead of bleeding red, you bleed black and this and that, and like instead of oil, it's blood and stuff like that. And I don't know, like, this is the story. I mean, I do like the story very much. I just the whole like AI aspect of it is just to me is a endless conversation for me. You know, I be chatting and shit like that. So for me, it's more just, you know, that's the one time where I mean, I don't like to be optimistic or pessimistic with a lot of things. I just like to just mention a lot of points that could just be like mentioned, you know, because it's fun to be glorious about AI, and I think it's better to be shifting towards that direction in terms of optimism for AI because it's gonna be involved into all our lives. It already is. Everywhere, you know?
Siri.
Yeah, man. Siri, Alexa, even the fucking just, you know, everything. Like, even when you get near the doors and it's like, step away from the back doors. I know that's more mechanical and like, you know, intensive in terms of, you know, just technology, but AI adapts to people and humans adapt to everything, you know? And so when does that adaptation stop being so reciprocated, you know? Like, it's just, it's gonna be weird times, man. But I think the beautiful thing about literature, especially the ones you've written right now, is just, like it invokes a lot of thought and stuff. You get me? And I think that's the crucial part of just reading stuff like this. Cause I know like a lot of people read things and they're just like, damn, like that makes me think, you know, this and that. And I think that's the best thing you can do, man. When you paint a picture or paint a painting or take a photo and you make people just chat like I'm doing right now, I think it's very like telling of how good the story was ultimately. And it was a really good story. Just my thoughts are, you know, definitely separate from everything you've written. But I definitely got lost in it, man. And it's a long story-ish. It's like a short story. But it felt like it went by like that. Like it just goes by quickly, man. And make that shit into a comic book, bro.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the plan for sure.
Do it, man.
Like I said before I started the story, this is kind of like my golden egg. This is a story that I really want to get out there in terms of a comic. I hope to refer to this podcast one day once I've created this into a comic and say I've talked about it on this show.
You also
and
use the
whatever
word
case is.
cacophony a lot.
I like that word. It's a good word.
I think in maybe every story you showed me, cacophony is in it. It might not be, to be honest with you.
I don't know if that's true, actually.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know for
I don't
sure.
know if that's true.
But I know for sure, like, the times I've heard you use cacophony is often through, like, the short stories and stuff like that. So who knows? I may be wrong. It's a good word, though. It's a good-ass
I
word.
like that word.
It's like feasible. I like that word, feasible.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to expand this into an ongoing series one day.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I would imagine or what I envision the first issue of a 5 or 6 issue arc being.
Ooh.
I already have it all planned out. I have it all written down and everything
Nice.
like that. It's just, I want to find an artist that's really good at drawing space.
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't found that artist
What's the
yet.
guy with the Fantastic Four?
Alex Ross.
He's a writer or artist?
He's both.
Tell him to do your shit, bro.
Imagine. Oof.
Alex
If he-
Ross?
Alex Ross.
I'm calling on you right now, Alex Ross. And if you know this motherfucker, ask him to draw his shit because he'll kill that shit. Maggie's like, yeah, sure, just ask me.
Oof, that'd be so nice.
That'd be dope as fuck. Fingers crossed.
But one day I'll find a good artist. If not, I'll draw it myself.
Mm.
And I'll just do the best I can to draw space and robots and aliens and shit like that.
Mm.
And this will be a story that'll get in your hands one day. I promise you that.
And if it's not already in your hands, it's in your ears.
In your ears,
You know what I mean?
kid.
And your orejas.
And your orejas.
I'm gonna go pee. I gotta pee so bad. So to finish off the third thing, the last story was To Verrsoon and Back, written by Javi. You know, want to put your full name or just Javier M.
Yeah.
Javier M. Look for it on the shelf soon, but always refer back to it here as the official, like, you know, first publishing of it in some sorts of ways. You know,
True.
And yeah, man. But where are we at now?
So as we've done, we've gone through our news section as we do.
Yep.
And we are now at the AMP section.
Section. Yep.
Our A.M.C section.
Yeah, man.
As some people like to refer it to, weirdos.
And this time we're up to the movie part.
We're at the movie part.
And what movie we did today?
So I'm pretty excited about this movie because this movie blew me away the first time I saw it in theaters. And
Oh, it was in theaters then.
I
didn't know this movie came out in theaters. I thought it just came out like indie wise.
This movie was in theaters. I saw it in theaters.
Ooh.
I was fucking gripped to the edge of my seat like the whole time. But this movie is really good and I really like it a lot. And we both have seen it before, but we both took, and this is technically the first movie that we both have gone back to check out.
Yeah, I think so, right?
Because
most movies we've never seen before in terms of recommendation, or like choice.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
So this is the first movie that we have both seen and have gone to revisit.
It's crazy.
But we are looking at 2015's A24 movies.
I didn't know it was A24.
A24.
Ooh.
Green Room.
Hell yeah, man.
Green Room. And it was directed by Jeremy Saulnier.
Oh, shit.
And just to get a little perspective on this guy's career, he directed Murder Party in 2007 and then directed Blue Ruin in 2013. And apparently Blue Ruin is a really good movie.
Okay.
Has a lot of good reviews and was arguably the reason why he got to make Green Room.
Okay.
I don't know if Blue Ruin has a blue tone to it.
No, it sounded like you said Blue Room.
Yeah,
That's why I was like, oh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah, Blue Ruin.
Blue Ruin.
And then, but after the success of Green Room, he was able to make Netflix's film Hold the Dark in 2018.
Okay.
And this movie stars Anton Yelchin. One of his earliest films was Alpha Dog in 2006.
Okay.
And he also was one of the stars in the Star Trek reboot from 2009 to 2016
Okay.
as Chekhov. He was also in Fright Night. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie.
No.
That came out in 2011. That was a reboot of a movie of the same name. And it's a movie about vampires and stuff.
Oh, shit.
It's a movie that I like a good amount.
Okay.
But his last film that he was ever in, because if you know the name Anton Yelchin, then you know that he also passed away at some point.
Oh, what the fuck? I thought he was alive still.
No, he passed away.
What happened to him?
So his last film that he was in was called Thoroughbreds, which came out in 2017. And Thoroughbreds is actually a film that I've suggested to you before, which has Anya Taylor-Joy in it.
Okay.
And it's just about these two like girls who try to sort of set up a murder against like one of their parents, and they try and use Anton Yelchin, who's like a drug dealer, to try and go about the murder.
Gotcha.
And it just gets messy
Gotcha.
and things like that. But it's a good movie.
All right.
But
what happened to him though?
Yeah, so Anton Yelchin, he died back in 2016,
Damn.
a year after Green Room came out, and he was 27 years old when he died.
Damn.
His SUV rolled down his driveway and crushed him against a security gate and a mailbox.
And nobody was in the SUV. It just did it by mistake.
It just did it by mistake, and that actually blew up into a whole case where his parents brought up a whole case, a lawsuit
Against the car company.
against the car company Cherokee, because they say that it was said that the Cherokee model
Was in park?
was among 1.1 million vehicles recalled about 2 months earlier when regulators said its gear shifters were confusing drivers,
Damn, bro.
which caused SUVs to roll away unexpectedly and leading to dozens of injuries.
That
So,
sucks ass,
That
bro.
happened to Anton Yelchin.
Very green room way of dying, though.
Yeah, pretty gross.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Damn. I thought it was gonna be some epic death, like he was saving Lynx. Damn, man. That's
Yeah, man,
ass.
it's really unfortunate. It's
26,
just
27. How old
like
is
27.
he? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he just fucking in his driveway, and like he was suffocating and dying like to his last breath. Like he was still
it wasn't
alive.
even a quick death. It was like
Yeah,
just
it
dying.
wasn't a quick death. Like he got crushed, and he was still just kind of there, like, oh man, yeah. So
Very
it's
green
just
room like though.
fucking crazy.
That's
man.
fucking wild. Did they win the lawsuit?
His parents did win the lawsuit.
But what is that towards just losing your child's life? You know?
Yeah.
Fuck Cherokee. Damn.
But yeah, that's how Anton Yelchin died. I'm surprised you didn't know this.
Nah,
That's
bro.
crazy.
I only seen him from this one movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's-
Yeah, no, he's a good actor.
All right.
He does good shit.
I thought he was Elijah Wood, bro. I thought I've always said this movie as like, yo, Elijah Wood's in it. And today I was with my manager at work and I was like, yeah, Elijah Wood's in the movie. And she was like, really? She was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. And she looked up. She's like, that's not Elijah Wood. I was like, what? And she's like, that's Antoine Lilla. And I was like, who? And she was like, that's not Elijah Wood. I was like, bro, you don't understand how many people I've told this was Elijah Wood in this movie. He looks exactly like him. Does he not? The Hobbit motherfucker and shit like that.
They have like the same hair.
The same everything.
They
They're
have
the
like
same
the same
person.
hair.
They're the same person, bro. What? Their eyes, their face, their voice. It's the same shit. So yeah, that's the starters for starters, bro. I even have it here. Like at first I wrote Elijah, then I found out that I wrote not Elijah. I was tight, bro.
God damn. But this movie also stars Aliyah Shawkat, which is one of the guitarists, the redhead curly chick.
Sam? No, not Sam. Whatever her name was.
I forget her name exactly,
Yeah.
but she's the one that has freckles. She's from Arrested Development. She's she's a sister in Arrested Development. She's really funny.
Okay.
But I actually served a waffle to her once.
Oh, nice.
Because I did a catering job for Waffles, where it was for a TV show that she was on.
Oh, cool.
So I got to serve her a waffle. So I was
Hey.
like, nice.
Eat my waffle. Oh. Uh-huh.
But and the movie also stars Imogen Poots, which who plays Amber, the blonde chick who
She's so
survives
hot,
at
bro.
the end.
She looks so good in that movie, bro. I'm in love with her. Like that's something I love. Like,
She was also
Yeah.
in Fright Night with Anton
Okay.
Yelchin.
nice,
And
nice.
she was also in the movie that I've recommended to you before, The Art of Self-Defense.
okay.
But yeah,
Nice.
she's pretty hot. She's a pretty
LD,
good actress.
LD, yeah, she look good as fuck, bro. I like her character, but her character's kind of stupid also. Yeah.
But yeah, those are like the things that I got for you. I couldn't find too many like fun facts
Yeah.
for the movie.
I think
or
the movie
anything.
is just kind of like without like diminishing it, of course. It's just a simple, sweet movie. And I'll tell you this, the first time I saw this movie, a long time ago, but I was just smoking with a bunch of friends at one of my friend's house. And we're all there kind of crammed into this little space. High as fuck. And the guy that was there, he was like, yeah, he's an avid movie lover, right? And he was like, I'm gonna put this movie, man. Like, you never heard of this, Screamo? I was like, no. And none of us heard, right? And he was like, let me put this on. This shit is crazy. So we all watched it, and I was like, whoa. Like, I was like, this is... Like, when I left, I remember I was drinking Wild Turkey. I was smoking some blunts. We're all just there hanging out. And when I finished, I was like, this is some crazy shit. And I didn't choose to watch this. He just put it on. I was like... And then I remember when I was at some kava bar. I hate kava. That shit is ass. It's like that mud drink that people swear by. It's complete garbage and a waste of money, overpriced. It's like alcohol without the alcohol.
Bruh.
Yeah, it's so bad. And I remember I was like, yeah, bro, you ever seen Green Room? And some motherfucker was at the end. He was like, yo, you seen Green Room? I was like, yeah. He's like, that shit is good. I was like, it is. And it was just hype. And then watching it, like I watched it again with Beatrice, and then I watched it again today, and I was like, damn, bro, like it's like a well done movie. Like there's a lot of like, it's not perfect, but in terms of what this is, I think it's a perfect movie in itself. Like its own little subcategory of things. You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
flaws, I think so, but
I
it
mean,
look beyond it.
Yeah, I think like even with the flaws behind this movie, it just kind of speaks to like that general thing of like, oh, people in horror movies are dumb.
Yeah.
And it's just like dumb like decisions happen and whatever.
Yeah. But you're also not looking for realistic shit in this hellhole. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
Like if you're looking for real life, it's like go watch a documentary. You know?
Yeah, so it's like you have to have that sort of sense of disbelief when you're watching this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I did see one review. I didn't write it down, but there was one review that was kind of praising the movie of like, I almost felt like this was real life.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I could imagine maybe something like this definitely did happen at some point in time.
For sure. Like this is not like a outland. It's not like zombies or like werewolf. This is like something that can actually happen.
Yeah, like
and give a synopsis of the movie if you don't mind.
The synopsis of this movie, I would say this movie is definitely like a horror. Online, they definitely list it as a thriller, but I
think it's a horror. I think but for how it makes you feel, it's a horror. You get me?
Yeah, I definitely think this movie is like more horror more than anything.
Me too.
Just because it's about a punk band. They're trying their best to make their name out there,
make a tour or something like that.
Yeah, just trying to outperform and whatever. And they get a gig at a sort of skinhead place, and they're like, they're kind of reluctant,
very alt-right, very like Nazi.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, you know, let's just do it, let's get out of here, or whatever. And by the time that they are done with their set,
but they're said they include a fucking anti-Nazi song.
Yes,
Nazi punk, fuck you, Nazi punk. And then the Nazis in the crowd are like, dicks. But then like they were like, you want to do this? And he was like, yeah. And one of the funny parts of the shoot, and then like Elijah Wood, I'm gonna keep calling him Elijah Wood. he wanted.
I think his name was Pat.
No, his name was Sam.
Was it? I'm pretty sure it was Pat.
I think it might be Sam because I know in the credits I saw Anton whatever. What's that name?
Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, I saw that next to Sam. I could be wrong, but Pat, Sam, whatever. He gets the idea of making the anti-Nazi song, and the redhead girl, the one you fed a waffle to, she was like, "You back out now? I'm telling them you're Jewish."
Yeah.
So they basically perform an anti-Nazi song in a Nazi club, basically, which is like the dumbest shit to ever do ever. And he looked so petrified when he was performing. Like that, like his eyes. He's such a. I think he's a perfect role for this movie, and we'll get more into it in a bit with the synopsis and stuff. But he gives the most realistic kid-like cry and yell and like, you know, soft-hearted voice. Like he got himself into the wrong choice, and he's trying to be this big bad wolf, but he really is just like this puny little sensitive tissue. You get me?
Yeah, I definitely relate to that a lot. Just because, like, I mean, just to finish the synopsis real quick, like. When they're done with their set, they go back into the green room, the back room stage, and they fucking walk into a murder pretty much.
Yeah, somebody stabbed in the eye, some girl stabbed in the eye.
Like stabbed in the head. Like not even in the eye. It's like
the head, the brain, basically.
Like right in their skull.
Yeah. She's dead.
Fucking like
they see it and they're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, they see it, and the whole movie is basically them just trying to get out of this venue with their lives. And these neo-Nazis are not gonna let them walk out just with their lives like that.
They want to frame them for the murder ultimately, and that's the whole movie. And they try to like fake cooperate with the band. They're like, oh no, just the guy who who does he play? Lex Luthor? Not Lex Luthor.
Patrick Stewart.
Who does he play?
He plays Professor Xavier.
Yeah, and he kills it too.
He's so good in that movie.
And basically, this whole Nazi group he's like. They try to portray it as a movement, but it's really just a cover for a heroin ring. You know what I mean? Like it is still a Nazi movement, but it pretty much is just to move heroin. Because even to like Patrick Stewart, he's like the leader of the Nazi movement, but ultimately like he's distributing drugs, and he refers to his fellow members as just like doing like N-word drugs and just kind of saying he tells them this is not a party, this is a movement. But then later on in the movie, he's like, make sure you get the drugs to the party. Like, you know, just kind of covering his tracks. And it's a bunch of fuckery. But basically all the band members, they're trying to kill every single one of them. And there's no escape. Like, there's no bit of hope.
This movie, because like, it really, because the first like, because it's a short movie.
Yes.
It's a short movie.
Well, now we're 35 minutes.
It's like 90 minutes, something like that. Like
probably probably just 90 because the credits count for like 5 minutes of it. So it probably is like just 129, 130.
It's like, it's a really short movie. Yeah. So it's like, it finishes before you know it.
But even then, it squeezes that fucking everything.
But there's so much tension in that movie.
Yeah, man.
Like immediately when you see the murder happen in the room,
you're like, whoa,
and you're like, holy shit.
And then so like just to get into it, because before they get into the whole altercation with the murder, they're being interviewed, and there's not. I only picked out one line in the whole movie, and this when they were being interviewed, and what's his name? Antoine.
I believe his name is Pat in the movie. Anton Yelchin.
Like his character, they ask him, it's like, you guys have no social media presence, this and that. And he responds, quote, when you go virtual, you lose texture. You got to be there. Music for effect, time, aggression, and it's shared live. And then it's over. The energy can't last. That was pretty cool. Even in the sense of what we're just talking about right now with the AI and stuff, just kind of being present for the moment and everything, and how like, I mean, one thing you didn't see for sure there is phones, like recording the thing, you know, like even after their anti-Nazi song, they played another one, and all the Nazis started headbanging, and they were like actually into it. They were fucking with the music, and I thought that was a cool little line right there by Elijah Woods.
You know, I there's a review that definitely speaks to sort of like the punk aspect of this movie, but something that I found out is that the director, whose name I forget at the moment,
Sam something.
The director is Jeremy Saulnier.
Okay.
But Jeremy Saulnier, and apparently him and Anton Yelchin had a relationship before they ever became famous.
Oh, okay.
And like used to be in the punk scene themselves.
The music is good. The music is pretty good in the movie. Like I don't know if it's like they tried to make it good, but it's pretty dope.
Yeah. I mean, there's an interview that kind of speaks to like their history of like being in a pre-punk band themselves and stuff, and
nice, called Elijah Woods.
They didn't say a name, but yeah, it was just like they themselves have some experience in the film and stuff.
Okay.
Or not in the film, but like in that space that the film experiences. And Jeremy Saulnier even says that Patrick Stewart is kind of based off of like a real person that he's like known himself. So it's like that kind of speaks back to that one review that I did point out that like
it feels like it could be real life.
It feels like it could be real life, because there are a lot of things where it's like, God damn, like this shit could be real. It literally could be real.
I feel like it is.
It
has to be. And then that music, I mean, I'm not saying that music. I think all music can invoke that. I'm just saying like I doubt like something like hip hop would be part of like an alt-right movement just because it involves a lot of black artists. I think something with like Pac and Ronk and stuff like that, it just seems more like, you know, because you don't see a jazz, you know, Nazis just Nazis. I can't do a little
I'm racist.
You know what's funny though? That's fucking hilarious. I'm racist. Jazz hands. Fucking I was telling Beatrice like I'm gonna be the first Mexican scatter. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, you know, boop. And I was like, give me a scat right now. Give me a scat. And she was like, ba-ba-da-boop. And I was like, everybody who does a scat, like, you know, that's him. They all go ba-ba-da-boop or like skibbity-bap. It's like, think of anything else. I'm like, think of a different type of scat. And she's like, okay. And she's like, ba-ba-dee-boop. She's like, nobody can think of a scat different from that. It's the same. It's the same thing. Skabba-da-bop. You know, like I mean, at the end of the day, Louis Armstrong and all these scatters, real talented motherfuckers for doing some shit like that. Ba-ba-da-bop. Nah, bro. Nah, man. You trying hard. I'm telling you, man. If you ask everybody to scat, they'll all go ba-ba-da-bop. I promise you. Ask your fellow friends. I'm saying, man. I'm racist. That's not funny. What are you saying though? Yeah, like pop and rock, not pop, like funk and not funk, punk.
I was saying that I feel like I brought this up when we covered American History X. When we go to that one sort of show that like definitely it kind of sucks where in terms of my music and whatever the case is, like a lot of people in that community fall under that same range. And it's like, that sucks. Yeah. But that is just like the reality of it. Yeah. And it just kind of speaks to like, music is universal no matter what. But it's just even even these guys in the movie trying to speak against like that stuff with their song and whatever of like Nazi punk, Nazi punk,
Nazi punk, fuck you. Yeah, that was awesome.
So it's just like,
yeah, wrong place, wrong time though, bro. Like, what kind of stupid shit is that? Like, that was me, my first, like, yo, bro, dead ass. Like, you dead ass want to make a statement right here in the middle of nowhere. And by the way, these guys are broke. They don't really got any means of paying
they
for anything.
siphon gas off of like other cars.
So they don't really have any means of like anything but playing their music, you know, and
Bruh.
and yeah, so ultimately they're basically fighting for their lives because all the people want to do is cover up the murder. And from there on out, it's pretty much in negotiations, and it doesn't really kick off up until not Elijah Woods, but I'll keep calling him Elijah Woods. And this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie where he has a gun, right? The gun that was by the bodyguard, but they finally like held the bodyguard down. What's his name? Like Justin, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, give me the gun. Like the Patrick Stewart. He's like, give me the gun because that gun is unlicensed, unregistered, and if you use it, like it's gonna cause more trouble. And he's like, call the cops. And he's like, listen, like this is not gonna help you at all. Like you either give me the gun or I go in there and I make it look like you were trespassing, you know? But once he agrees to trade off the gun and he opens the door and he puts his hand out and he gets stabbed, you know, like his arm gets stabbed. That's my favorite, one of my favorite scenes, because when I watched it for the first time, the guy who showed us the movie, he was like, isn't it crazy, bro? Like, it sounds so real how he's screaming. Because he's not going immediately like, ah, like he's like, okay. Like, you know, he's like actually begging, like he sounds like a kid, man. Like he sounds like you would actually sound if you were like in no situation to be like, scream first. Like he's like, again, he's like, okay. Like, and he gets stabbed and he's like, ah, and then he starts screaming like real, like, what the fuck? And then you see him pull his arm back and his whole wrist is unhinged from his forearm.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck? And that comes out of nowhere because last minute the Amber girl sees that there's people hiding by the doorway and his arm is just torn to shreds. And even when he cries, he's like, ah, like, you know, like I can't mimic it perfectly, but it sounds so childlike. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, that was like something that again, I always forget his name, but the director Jeremy Saulnier is something that he succeeds in doing, and apparently that he does in Blue Ruins as well, but just creating this sense of tension throughout the film where it's just like
you feel uneasy the whole time.
You feel uneased the
whole
entire
even
time.
the ending.
And it's like you feel uneased until the violent gore breaks out, and like that is kind of like a relief in a second where you're like, oh my god, finally something has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But you're
still like, what the fuck is gonna happen next?
The gore is so intense where you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is gonna happen next? Because like we learned that the murder that they walk into has something to do with the fact that
one of their traitors or something like
that girl was gonna like leave
the Nazi movement, and they don't accept traitors.
Yeah, she was gonna leave, and then
was it with the guy who like was introducing them at first? Like the little short, stumpy guy. Like, is he Worm or was Worm somebody else? That's what confused me. I think
Worm was somebody else,
right?
Yeah.
But he didn't want nothing to do with it in the first place.
Because
pretty much not the manager, maybe the manager under the boss,
Patrick Stewart. No, the manager.
You know, the little stumpy looking guy. Yeah. I feel like I thought he was Worm, but then he ended up not being Worm. And I think but at the end he was like, I don't want to go to jail. Like I don't like any of this.
I don't want any of this, man.
Yeah.
But like fucking they find out that like this girl is basically murdered because she wanted out.
Yeah.
And they find like the note on her that says like that
Flesh
thing
wolf.
in like German or something like that. It's just like meat wolf or some shit like that, or meat grinder.
Flesh wolf or something like that.
Yeah, and that was basically her cue to leave, and they fucking caught word of that and fucking killed her.
And there was one point where the red-haired girl, she's like, maybe she's not dead. And the guy goes up to her and just pulls out the knife from her head.
And he's like dragging her body
and
because
she's
the
like,
knife won't come out of her head.
And she was like, she might not be dead. There's no blood. And then he pulls out the knife and then just blood comes out. And he's like, see? Blood.
There it is.
And I'm like, oh my God.
That same guy has a pretty scary line too. Like right before he leaves, he like stands before Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
He's like,
that last song,
the second to last song you guys played,
that shit was really hard.
What was the name of that song?
And he was like, I forgot the name of the song.
Like To Destruction or something like that.
He was like,
Yeah, that was shit went hard, man.
And then Elijah Woods is just there like just the same face he was making on stage playing. Like he has those eyebrows like inward and upwards, like he's scared as fuck. And then from then on out, once his arm gets shredded, like from there on out, that's when the killing spree. Like again, there's not really that much basis to it aside from the ups and downs from trying to escape. And that's when the boss Patrick Stewart tries to make it more like a murder, giving the Nazis more rules, like don't stab them in their bones, like no shotguns, no guns, this and that. Like they have a sign that says be aware of dogs, and they release dogs on them and stuff. And I mean, one of my favorite deaths, a lot of them were, but one of my favorite ones is the one where the one guy runs away. They all decide to just run out and go scatter, right? So at one point, they're just like, we're all going to just run to our safety. Yeah. And one guy escapes through like a little like basement door. And as he climbs out, like you could see him getting out and climbing out to the outside. And as soon as he reaches outside, like there's no minute of nothing. It's just stab.
Just some dude just comes up and just starts stabbing
and then it's amazing because like, you get that like millisecond where like he made it, and then like, oh no, he's dead as fuck. And like and then later on when Patrick Stewart like sees the body, he's like, is he breathing? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, let him die, let him bleed out. It's better for the time of death. And then the other guy gets chewed by the dog in his neck, and they just show the dog going to town on his neck, and even he's like, oh. Just that nasty fucking. It's like, oh my god!
Because like, if you didn't know who the actors were in this movie, you would kind of expect that the lead singer is gonna survive the longest.
And they kind of have this little confidence to them. They're like, they have this like heroic moments of them trying to act badass, but nobody lives except Elijah Woods and Amber.
Like it's such an unusual combo that those two are the ones that survive at the end of the day.
Like the weakest links almost.
Kind of, and it's just kind of like, man, they fucking survive. Like that's fucking crazy. But like they find out like through the hatch that like these guys are basically running a whole heroin like base and whatever. And that all this is basically just a front to run their heroin. Yeah. And they're just kind of like, holy shit. And they don't put too much attention on it, but they're just kind of like, yeah, this they don't need what's
to.
Going on.
In some ways, they don't even need to, because it pretty much sums up like, oh, wow. Like, that's the whole point, to keep this ongoing and everything. And one thing I want to mention, right before they ran out to like go like live, like just try to escape, Elijah Woods tells the paintball story. He's like, he's like, this is paintball. And before they were like, what are your desert island bands, right? And they all said like hardcore bands. And he's like, what are your desert island bands? And there was one, somebody was like Prince. The other guy was like Misfits, and the guy was like Shooter Rock or some shit like that, And some other guy said something else. But then the Amber girl, she was like Madonna and Slayer. And, you remember that?
No, Amber doesn't say anything actually.
Yeah, she says Madonna and Slayer.
No, she doesn't.
I swear. I promise you. The blonde girl? Yeah, she says Madonna and Slayer.
Nah, she ignores him.
No.
She's like, are we going to get out of here?
Yeah, and then when they all say everything, at the end, she whispers to herself. She says, Madonna and Slayer. I promise you. We watch it. I'll put it up for you afterwards. I swear.
Okay.
That's because when I was like, that's dope. And then it's funny because he switched up to Prince, but when he said Misfits, it was dope. You know what I mean? And I think, I don't know, red hair girl was still dead, but she said Simon and Garfunkel.
She refers to the other two guys as Simon and Garfunkel.
No, she says the band as Simon and Garfunkel, like the redhead girl.
Oh, I thought she was just referring to the two other guys as Simon and Garfunkel.
No, because like when Elijah Woods was trying to bring up the paintball story, that's when the Amber girl was like, "Can we stop listening to this fucking story?" Like, because the whole story was basically like they went to go play paintball as a friend group, kind of trying to uplift the mood of the movie, trying to make it like, we're gonna get out of here alive, guys. Saying they went to go play paintball and that they were paired up with ex-Marines and that all the Marines ended up just demolishing them. And he didn't get to finish his story because Amber was like, yo, fuck this story. This story is stupid. But then the redhead girl was like, no, Simon and Garfunkel. And that's when the next guy was like Prince. And the next guy said Misfits. And the other guy was like True to Rock. And then everybody stopped. And then it comes to Amber and she's like, Madonna and Slayer. That's why I thought that shit was mad funny, man.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, man. It's cool.
You gotta show me after.
I will. But I also thought that one cool scene, which was like cool but kind of corny, but that's why I liked it, because it was corny. Because nobody's gonna survive, right? Except them two. But when they're kind of holding the Justin guy hostage, who was holding them hostage at first, and the lights go out, and then there's like blackout. They're like, whoa, there's like commotion, and the Amber girl lights a lighter, and she's like, that's a cigarette, like kind of all cool, like like what the fuck, bro? Like why are you trying to be cool in this situation? And she's like, here, Justin, the guy who's being held hostage now. She puts the cigarette in his mouth. Smoke this, and he's like, thanks. And she's like, you see that cherry go anywhere you don't like, you shoot. And then she just kind of walks away all badass and ominous. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you're a twig lady. You may look good, but you're still a twig, motherfucker. and then I wrote, the amateur giving the big guy the cigarette. Funny she's being so dramatic because I remember her dying. I was wrong, but as I was watching it, that's fine. Oh, but I wanted to mention the lighting of the movie is incredible. Outside is one thing. It's still kind of like grayish, down. But inside the club, the lighting of the movie is tremendous.
I mean, there's like a greenish like hue to the entire film.
Yeah, and it adds on to that just fucking rusticness. You know what I mean? Just,
like there's just that certain hue to it that just makes it feel a little more grimier. And
like a
things
diseased
like that.
hospital, in the middle of plague. It's just, you don't want to be in there, but like you just want to see them walk into the sunlight and like, it's a hard knock. Like that movie ends and shit like that. But yeah, that guy getting stabbed, man, that's one of the most amazing deaths ever, because you get the oh man, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but I think one of the best deaths was the shotgun death.
Oh, to the face?
Oh man,
oof,
that was crazy because I knew it was coming. And why don't you explain to the people what's happening?
So yeah, like fucking one of the neo-Nazis, they go in, they kind of convince the boss, Patrick Stewart Darcy. He's like, let me go in and whatever,
and I'll kill them.
He goes in and he's basically attached to the girl who wanted to run away.
Yeah, he
was supposed to run away with that girl. And he tells the
other, it was that she wanted to run away with somebody that wasn't him. That's what I think it was, because they were like, you think she wanted to run away with you? Do you really want to tell him right now? You get me? Like that's why I'm confused with the whole thing, because she was like, you wanted to find out that she was gonna run away with the guy that wasn't you. That's what I remember for being it. So again, that whole aspect is I may be wrong, but that's why that whole story, the end of the story, kind of always confuses me, because I'm too stuck on the deaths where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like it makes sense, but what happens to him?
Well, either way, he fucking sticks with the crew and he's like, you know what? I'm going to help you guys get out of here.
He's like that beam of light.
Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, they might get out of here. And Darcy's like, we're forgetting one thing. We're forgetting about the fucking shotgun underneath the bar.
Yeah. And she's like, how do you know? She's like, how do you know we're going to be safe? And he's like, what did he say? He's like,
I know where all the guns are and whatever and this and that. And he goes to the bar and he fucking grabs the shotgun and the shells. He puts it down on the table and just kaplow!
Shot in the face.
Just fucking completely shot in the side of the face. Completely dies.
And the way it goes, because it's not even just like that. Like he goes to the bar. He's like, I know something they don't. Like, and it just like that ray of hope. He's like, I know something they don't. And his face just gets plastered. And even me watching, I was like, and this is the third time I'm watching, and I'm like, damn, bro, like, because everything is so like interrupted, like the deaths are so they don't come in like oh, like, when you do that dramatic walk and you're like, duh, and then you step into a bear claw, like it's so like in the like grit of the perfect interruption, and then when he gets shot in the face, you're like, what? Like, we're back here again? I thought we were gonna get saved and everybody's going home. Nah, man, and then he doesn't even like, his body doesn't disappear quick. Like, you see the holes in his face and he kind of just muddles down. And they're like, and they just run away back to the room. And oh my God, bro.
The gore is insane in this movie.
And it's not that exposed too. It's just enough, I think so.
Yeah, like I would say it's definitely a very justified gore where it's like, it's not in your face. It's just enough where it's like, yeah, this is how it would look like, but they're not gonna like overdo it or anything.
Just to make you suffer enough, like only make you suffer the worst moments of that death, and then afterwards, just like when you see the aftermath of them, like either half alive or like the throat being completely chewed up by the dog and stuff. And poor dog, is the dog dirty? Like they like put some like poison in the dog, and then he was like 1 hour to live, and the owner was like, make sure he at least has meat in his mouth before he dies. Do me that favor. And then the Patrick Stewart was like, disregard that. Just make sure you killed them. And I was like, bro, why you kill the dog that bitch? It was tight.
No, that Like where were we in terms of death? Fucking
So I mean, the red haired girl also dies by a dog.
Yes.
Yeah. She tried to hard survive, but she did pretty good with the fire extinguisher. Like she extinguished a bunch of bad motherfuckers.
She did.
Yeah, but at that point, it's just Elijah Woods and Amber. And then that to me, that's the part I didn't like the most, when they team up and they do a great job after, but they finish the paintball story, you know. And then she was like, finish that paintball story, because she kind of talks like that the whole time. She's like, no, I want to know. And then he finishes it. He's like, then Richard just jumped out of nowhere and got everybody and, you know, killed them all. And she was like, fake killed them. And he was like, well, yeah. And she's like, well, it's time for us to pretend. Some shit like that, you know.
Let's pretend.
And they just work as like the dynamic duo. They kill all the neo-Nazis and shit like that. And they do it pretty cleverly too. They work as a team. It got a little more superhero-ish at that moment, like towards the ending, for them surviving. But again, I wasn't mad at it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it definitely has to have its like sort of like heroic ending for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it probably could have ended with like a shitty ending, but it just wasn't that kind of movie.
Yeah, and they're pretty good, to be honest with you. Like they kill the two people that were left to kill them. Like they outmaneuvered them. They kind of out-tricked them, and they managed to. Darcy is the guy, right? The manager or something like that. They end up seeing Darcy, the one who kind of like invited them in at first. And I mean, they kind of go their own ways. Elijah Woods and Amber, and Darcy goes his other way and stuff.
Oh no. Darcy is Patrick Stewart.
Oh, I'm talking about the other guy,
the manager who runs the bar. Yeah,
but they go their separate ways, and
because like he walks in after
he was
Anton
ready to
Yelchin
clean up the mess and everything.
and Amber like kill those two guys, and he's cleaning the mess, doesn't even notice anything.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Listen, I don't want to go to jail. Like, I'll fucking go get the cops for you guys and this and that." And they were like, "You better fucking do it," and this and that. And they split their ways. They go different ways in the woods.
Elijah Woods.
In the Elijah Woods.
And they finally come across Darcy, the Patrick Stewart, and the two other Nazis trying to frame the band as trespassers.
Yeah.
Like they're basically like creating a crime scene, but they kind of creep up on them, and they're like, "Nah, bitch, like you didn't expect us, did you?"
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I'll say that was a really good scene or a good shot when Anton Yelchin pulls up on the side of the van with the gun. Because like something that I noticed is that his hand is so steady with the gun.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just speaks so much to like the trauma that he's been through. He's like, yeah, I'm ready to kill him,
like
motherfucker.
at this point, yeah,
like I'll fucking do it. And even when he says like, I don't care if you have a gun or not, I'll shoot you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just speaks so much to like,
he's been through and everything.
Yeah, he's lost all he can. He'll fucking do it right now.
And even then he maintains his like, he breaks that, because when Amber finally shoots the one guy, he's like, so we're doing that now? Like, you know, he kind of reverts back to that, like, I don't want to do this though, you know? But one of my favorite shots was right before they meet up, they see Darcy and everybody. It was like an upward shot of Elijah Woods looking off, and the trees behind them. And there's just this one, like, not still shot, but just hovering but under him and stuff. And there was that shot, and there's a lot of like scenic shots that I very much enjoyed about the movie. Outside of the true parts of the movie, which were like inside the club and stuff like that. But I love how Patrick Stewart dies. I love it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, something that I also really liked as well is just again the hue of the movie. Like everything's kind of underneath that green hue, and so when they get out and the fact that they're in the woods in the green, it just like it's so exposed. Yeah. And so when they go to finally fucking kill Patrick Stewart, and that whole interaction of how Patrick Stewart just like says like, nope, I don't care what you guys have to say.
And he walks away.
He just turns around and he just tries to walk away. He takes out his gun and they just shoot him. Yeah. And he turns around, he takes one shot, misses, and fucking Anton Yelchin gets on one shot shoots right on his head. And you just see the blood just gush out of his head for that hot second.
Right before that, when they approached them, and then he was like, what a fucking crazy night. And then Patrick Stewart says, "For us all."
Yeah.
And then she's
He's-
like,
he-
"Is that the last words you want to come out your stupid fucking mouth?"
Yeah.
And then he like, I love that line because he
Some-
really is a manipulator from the end.
A line that I really like too is when with the guy with the dogs,
Mhm.
when he gives a dog to the one guy to go into the club,
Mhm.
and he's like, "Oh, take him, whatever, this is the command to attack, whatever, this
Yeah.
and that." And he's like, "How many shots do you have in your shotgun?" He's like, 3. He's like, "Okay, so you have 1 extra shot."
Mhm.
And he just drives away
Mhm.
because there was only 2 of them
in there.
left.
Mhm.
So he's like, "You got 1 extra
Very
shot."
demonic, very fucking like just you know your job, do that shit well
Yeah,
type
and
shit.
it's just like I thought that was such a good line, and the way he just drives off right after. I'm like, oof,
Yeah, man.
like
Nah.
oof. If that was me, I'd be like, fuck, you're right. I do got 1
Yeah.
extra shot.
Patrick Stewart, he was so unnecessary for the film, but because it was such a minimal role, like he didn't need to be in that film. I think so. It could have been like any British guy or some whatever. But like the fact that they put him in there, like he did excellent in that movie. Everybody
yeah.
did excellent, but it was like he was like the true Nazi cherry on top. Like he was perfect in that movie, and I admire this movie, man. Like I think it's a personal favorite. I'm sure you like it a lot, very much as a personal favorite and stuff, and. You can never go wrong watching this movie, especially like when you got somebody that's never seen it before. Just be like, "Oh, you're in for some shit right now, man." Because even today, man, as I was watching it, everything got to me the same way. Like I was jittering, like I was kind of like rubbing my hands together. I was like, "Oh my god!" And I really jumped when the shotgun hit the guy, and it's like dessert wine, so short, so sweet, but so perfect, you know.
Yeah, man, it's a good fucking movie, man.
man.
I really enjoyed going through this movie. Even this is like the 4th time I've watched it, but it's just like it hits every
Yeah,
time.
every single time, no
Every
matter
time.
what. It's so good. It's so fucking good, and I'm definitely gonna show more people this movie, especially on Halloween. Just fucking, get them high as fuck, put it on, and just turn off all the lights and run away. Tie them to the chair. Come out, talk like this. I can't remember Patrick Stewart, but man, good fucking movie.
But I got some reviews for you.
Oh shit! Okay.
So, first review I got for you is from Lucy.
Mhm.
They say the room was not actually green. 4.5 stars.
It wasn't. It was yellow. It was yellow, right? 4.5 stars though. That's mad funny. I was waiting. Like I was like, wait. 4.5 stars. Nice.
This one comes from Karsten. They say, like this, but super underwhelmed. Great gore and a few intense scenes where you really have no idea where they're going. But for a film that relies on punk as a core part of its personality, it just felt like a way of establishing an aesthetic that never felt fully utilized. The politics were there, but the energy just wasn't. 3 stars.
I don't agree with that motherfucker at all. I think the whole point is it's not about music at all. It's about fucking these motherfuckers dying. You know what I mean? And I think the punk is just a blanket of the whole thing. But even then, during a lot of scenes, there's a lot of music playing in the background.
I think
You
like
know?
punk is a background of,
Yeah.
of this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the forefront of it.
Not
I
at
think it's
all.
like the background of
Yeah.
it.
I think
So-
like the intro was pretty much only that the punk served as the reason for them being there.
Mhm.
But realistically, it's about like just their wanting to escape. It's a terrible situation, but in a sense, like they put themselves in it. You know, they didn't deserve to die. Is what I'm trying to. Well, actually no, because it wasn't even their political like song that got them into that trouble. It was just
They
the
wa-
murder.
Yeah, they just walked
Yeah.
into the wrong place at the
Yeah,
wrong
because
time.
they got paid, and then he was like, I forgot my phone.
Yeah.
Phones, man, they just ruin everything. They just ruin everything. Damn, bro.
But yeah.
Oh, sick ass jujitsu move by the guy who put him in the
Oh,
arm
yeah,
lock.
then that
Yo,
arm
I'm
lock.
surprised Joe Rogan didn't come through like, oh, interview his ass. And we forgot to mention this when he actually does put him to sleep, and they were like, "How do you know he's dead?" And she just
and
slits
she
his
just
stomach.
slits his fucking stomach.
It looks
Oh
like a
my
zipper
God.
unzip, and it's not even again.
It's so gory.
It's nothing epic. It's just straight up so peaceful almost. Like he just, and you just see the stomach just splitting open. And I was like, damn, remember? She did good.
I saw a review that was like
Mhm.
that said let's pretend, and then it was like, damn, that she's bad of a box cutter, but goddamn.
Yeah, man, that shit was gory as fuck, but it's awesome. And fuck that. Feel bad for that guy. I'm surprised he didn't wake up. You know what I mean? Like, what? You get your whole stomach cut.
I wonder if you would wake up from that. Honestly, you'd probably lose so much blood you probably wouldn't.
Yeah, but like maybe the initial pain probably wake you up. I don't know.
I don't know.
Elijah Woods.
Elijah Woods.
I'm gonna write Elijah Woods on my thing. Continue.
But fucking last review I got for you is from Vaccine Hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
They say, it would be really quite terrible if we were to find ourselves trapped in the midst of an armed white supremacist business operation which uses entertainment as a cover for nefarious schemes which sicken and enslave the whole of the culture without using non-whites as scapegoats for the damage and hostility which follows, further fueling their cause. Right? 4.5 stars.
Damn, bro, preach, mother. What was it? Nafax?
Vaccine.
He knows what he's talking about. He should have been giving the speech instead of fucking Biden. That's pretty funny.
But yeah, those are the reviews I got for you, my guy.
I think respectfully to all the other movies, Green Room might be like top 3 of the movies reviewed in terms of personal preference.
Okay.
Just because I think in that ranking, I think it just will fit everybody's. Like, I don't think this has any motive except to be what it is. Like, you don't leave that movie saying, I'm so inspired, I'm so this. You leave that movie being like, oh, yeah, like, what the fuck, man? Like I could have gone my whole life without watching that, but not really though. Like, I really cherish that movie.
I love how the way the movie ends, where he's finally like, you know what? I think I finally have my desert island band, and she's just like,
I don't give a fuck. What
tell someone who gives a fuck.
And it just ends up perfectly, man. Nah, I love her character, bro. I love her character.
And it's just like fucking shit like that. It just like, it speaks to the fact that none of that shit matters.
Yeah. I mean, he lost all his friends. He lost all his friends. They got to go to the cop. You know what that reminds me of? Of the Rick and Morty episode with the Meeseeks. And at the end, like, after all this shit they've done, if the Meeseeks held everybody hostage, and Jerry's like, you know what? I think I'm going to take my family to the zoo. And the manager's like, no, you don't. We're calling the police. You have so many questions to answer. And Jerry's like, okay. You know, I just love shit like that, man. It's always... But watch Green Room if you haven't seen Green Room.
Watch Green Room.
Definitely oh man, I don't even know how to describe that movie, because I want to say horror, but I also think it's just such a perfect on its own movie. You know? I
mean, I would definitely consider it a horror.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely one to say that, like, horror doesn't stop at, like, mystical beings or things like that. Like, real life can be horror.
Yeah.
And I think,
agree.
I think this movie definitely portrays a real life horror.
I feel thrilling is just the smallest aspect of this movie. Like, thrilling is just like the after effect of after you've been horrorized in the movie.
Well,
you know,
I have like a pretty strong stance on like the thriller genre of movies, where like I feel like, because people don't understand the difference between horror and suspense, that they created the thriller genre.
But what I'm saying, like, with this movie, I agree with you. I just think with this movie, like, this again, the thrill part about it is just the aftermath of just true horror you face when you see like horrific things in the movie. You know what I'm trying to say? Just like, I don't know, everything, man. Like, you're just like you're just kind of just fucking not unfazed. You're phased. Like, you're actually phased by what you see, like, because you don't get no brave outcome except the ending. But again, it's kind of useless, that brave outcome. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just, I don't know, man. Like, Hostel, I think, is just more gore. There's nothing thrilling about it. There's nothing horrific about it. It's just gore.
Okay.
Because it's just like kind of pointless. Like,
it's just gore to be gore.
Yeah, like, it's intentionally just trying to show you the most gory thing it could show you. Like, in close-ups on it and stuff like that. Like, there's parts about the post-gore where you're like, oh no, you know, when he cuts his ankles and stuff, like, he like literally buzzsaws his ankles where his feet meet, like both of them. And he's like, you want to leave? Go ahead. And he stands up and just falls straight forward. Because he has no ability to stand up no more, because his ankles and his like legs can't connect. So it's kind of like a waka waka Pac-Man, like,
ew.
it's so gross. And then Hostel, one lady's eye gets blowtorch, and they showed the eye post blowtorch. I mean, in Hostel too, there's some lady who like slits a girl's stomach and she bathes in the blood, and oh my god, it just goes crazy and crazy and crazy. Man. There's some guy who in Hostel, spoilers, he's literally just eating him alive. So he's like fine dining, and he just like is carving up a piece of his meat, and the guy's like and the guy's just playing music, just carving him up like. And he takes off like a cliche ham slice. He just, as he's screaming,
Hey, yo.
and he just eating him just alive with a
Hey,
piece of-
yo.
It's Hostel's disgusting movie, man. But
I'm glad we didn't watch that movie.
that's the next movie we're doing. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, man, fucking watch Green Room. That's all I gotta say to all the people.
Watch Green Room
Watch Cuarto Verde.
and Cuarto Verde.
Nice. So what do we do today, Javi?
Yo, my guy, we talk about what's going on in the earth,
En el mente,
in el mundo,
en el mundo, en our minds.
wait,
Entre nos mentes.
in los mentes.
En mi mente, en our mentes.
We fucked it up.
¿Por qué it matters? This was,
Earth, mind, and matter.
yeah, tierra, mente y matter.